See, this is what's crazy. So my phone has 2 minutes, but all of our computers, they're all off. What's going on with that?
I don't know. I go with my computer.
You go with your computer or the phone?
My phone. I go with my phone.
That's kind of more reliable, huh? Okay, we're up. We're on. Did he not get the other camera up?
No, I didn't dare to push the button.
Okay.
So I thought, well.
Oh. Yeah. This very good.
Yes.
Yeah, everything's going. It's live stream. Yeah, Anne's joining us and then she's on her way and then Phil's on his way. And
all right, it's that magic hour, 6 p.m. Call to order this regular meeting of the Pleasant City Council. It's Tuesday, May 14th, 2024. We'll start the meeting by a pledge of allegiance and opening prayer reading or expression of thought. Councilor David Barron. Bill, please stand. Please pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have to be grateful this evening to be in this great city. We're grateful for the opportunity we have to meet to discuss the business of the city, and we're thankful for all of the volunteers and contributions to help our city, and for all the public works and city employees that help things go smoothly. We're grateful this evening for the beautiful weather we have, and for the blessings that we have in our lives. And pray that that will guide us in our decisions and help us to be wise and accomplish the things that we take care of. We pray for those who need our help, and we pray we'll be mindful of that and be able to serve and help in some way. We're grateful for these things and ask for thy blessing in the name of Jesus Christ. It's so nice to see people. Some of the seats, it's a lot better than just talking and then people. The reason you're here. So move on quickly to 1B, which is declaration of conflicts of interest. We have a conflict of interest. Seeing none, we'll move to 1C, public comments. For preference, the mayor council presents that members to address the council. Seeing none, we move to item 2, minutes of April 23rd. Corrections, changes. You have the votes.
It's just your statement saying this was the purpose of it.
I'll second the motion. Okay, motion by Gibson, second by Mary. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
So I don't know if Anne is on or she's voting.
this is.
Yeah, I'm
quiet.
here.
I don't know.
I'm voting yes.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm gonna turn it up. Oh, sorry. We did try to fix the audio.
Turn it up a little bit here. Say something. That's one.
Wait, are you asking me to talk again? Sorry, I voted yes.
Okay.
It'll be a long meeting.
I think the Tesla is having some interference with our sounds.
It's not that. It's our.
All right, we'll be on time. Sure, I'm sure I'll. Right, 3.
Sorry, Ann.
Or more. Oh, maybe you're here for other items, but all right, so move on to item 3A is recognition comment award as the Youth City Council 2023-24 scholarship recipient. I'm going to final over to Sarah and Sue. Whoever's there is Sarah.
I'm very interested in the city, absolutely so. So we'd like to recognize Cooper Beaumont tonight. He is this year's Youth City Council Scholarship recipient. And he is not only an amazing young man, but he's an absolute wonderful candidate for this award because of all the things that Cooper stands for and the things that Cindy and I have worked hard to help teach these Youth City Council members and help, instill in them the desire to be civically engaged and a desire to serve and be a part of an active part of the community. So some things about Cooper. He's very inquisitive and he's eager to learn. Cooper came onto the Youth City Council with a desire not only to participate, but he was proactive in creating comments and suggestions. And one of the great suggestions that he made was, hey, do we have a Youth City Council logo? We don't. Cooper asked, what if I made one? So he took it upon himself to do that. And not only did he do that, but he came and presented to our city council as well. He also, one of the requirements that we have for our city council members is they attend 3 meetings. 2 can be from the same, and then the third, can be from a different category, which is either city council, planning commission, or a project meeting. Cooper went above and beyond. He went way more than 3 because he enjoyed getting to know the process and being involved and asking questions and knowing what's happening in their city. Not only that, but Cooper privately went ahead and, I don't know if it's a foundation that you're part of, but created his own charitable group to go to India and serve those people there. And so privately, he does amazing things. Civically, he does amazing things, and he's just an outstanding person. Some things they may not know about Cooper is he's incredibly musically talented. He plays the cello, correct? Violin, okay, but he's been playing for several years. He's also a Sterling Scholar recipient at Weaver High School for social studies, right? And so he went to the state competition and, did amazingly well and represented our community. So he's just a very intelligent, proactive, outstanding member of our community. We're very excited to award Cooper Bullock as this year's Youth City Council Scholarship recipient.
Cindy, so just for everybody's, so Cindy and Sarah are that's their.
She's like,
I don't say anything, but I'm.
No, we collaborated with that, and that's fantastic. I also had the opportunity to deliver Thanksgiving meals with Cooper,
yes.
and he was fantastic about just navigating and communicating. He jumped out there and was willing to visit with the people and to help that way. And he really is deserving of this support. So, really proud.
It's always wonderful having you want to come out like a castle and Cindy and come out and it's a good picture. Like that.
Yes. Thank you.
Of course.
Come on, you guys. So here's your awesome plaque. I'm going to check. Thank you, ladies and people for doing that together and all this. Sorry, I'm so sorry. You're good. Getting in front of everyone. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, there, you do.
One more resident, thank you very much. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Can we get this one picture with Cooper drawn over on that of your two?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, the whole one I can take.
She read your bike, your whole thing about.
Good for her.
Okay, okay, do it. You wanna take them? Sorry.
Like it's in person.
Cindy.
How's it, Amy?
Don't listen to the whistle.
Okay, now. Is it 2 minutes? No, there's. Oh, okay. It's really.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for coming and supporting.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Cindy. No tell her. Okay.
You're welcome to stay, you're welcome to go.
Hey, to be recognition of Lewis Krause for winning statewide competition recon. Reed Miller, competition to be judged here.
So we actually had a request to pull this because of some unavailability, so I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
They want to do it, yeah, in 2 weeks. Thanks.
All right, a recognition of Chief Ryan Hadley for being named Utah Chiefs of Police Association 2024 Outstanding Chief of Police. Names.
Yes, and I'm gonna see, my computer's giving me some technical difficulties, but I wanted to show a picture. So our police chief, we are very fortunate to have someone as seasoned as Ryan Hadley involved with our department. He is almost 50 years of service in this field. And with that, we submitted, they do an annual Chiefs of the Year award, and with the years of service submitted a recommendation for award, and we received that, and we're very tickled for him. So I wanted to share a photo of that from the award, but I don't.
This is held in St. George in March.
Mhm.
I've known Ryan for a long time, Chief Hadley for a long time. But I don't, it's all right. So, all several different aspects of his career and that's obviously, but he's got a career for years that has just been outstanding in the service that he's provided to multiple communities all throughout the county. It's just an amazing thing. Most people, I mean, the police retirement is a 20-year retirement. And there are very few people, well, there are very few people anywhere that make a 50-year career. So it's the breadth and width of knowledge that he brings to our small city is just, we're just so lucky. We're just so lucky to have it. We really appreciate it. It's done for our community. He lives in this community. It's his community as well. And he treats it just like his baby. So we appreciate it. Go ahead.
Okay,
You got it?
I think I got it.
Let's start with-
Always.
Try to feel you out there.
Oh, there we go. So that's his receipt of the award, and pretty exciting for him and the many, many years of service that he's contributed. We appreciate.
And I don't know if there's a way that we can let the community really know. Maybe you can put that picture in our next newsletter or something. I would like our community to know what what great guy we have and how lucky they are to have such wonderful things. Chief, you have anything to say?
Well, thank you very much. Amy was very kind to submit that letter to the Chiefs Association. I don't know if they gave it to me out of pity or out of respect. 50 years, that's quite a while. We talked about a 20-year retirement. Why did a 20-year retirement, a 38-year retirement? coming up on 50, 51, where I might decide to go again. But it's been a great ride, supporting families, supporting communities, and appreciate the opportunity to serve. It wasn't me.
Anybody else?
It's an awesome award. I'm thankful to be here for it.
Definitely well deserved.
The only thing better with that picture is I've been on the
That's true.
Well, we'll play like the stand, that's Willard People, so I can stand right. I
As
don't
it
know what all the red stuff. is.
But it's in St. George, they had a hard time finding smoke that about.
Did see that.
I like Amy's description of season. That has so many different meanings. It's old, but I love a well-seasoned steak. It doesn't matter.
I did not say old.
I had 50 years and only be 50 acres.
Yeah, I didn't do that. Started really good. We so appreciate it. It is an honor, well deserved. I don't, like I said, I don't even like what the public, what the gem they got, but they push that out. So I think a lot of them know, but
Well, thank you, Mayor. Thanks, Chief, for letting us put you on the spot.
Yeah, but then I go back to my early days.
rowdy. I did. Still rowdy? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 4 is home occupation acceptance request. Discussion of possible action to grant exemption to the home occupancy conditions for business to allow a person other than the resident of the home to be employed. Grant additional vehicular traffic not commonly associated with the development, and grant parking on a public street other than that which is available in front of the resident. Business located at 4426 North, 175 West for a health and wellness service. Cluster is Miriam Wolseley.
Everybody says whatever else.
All right, Laurie.
You know, pretty much what you just stated is what she's here for. She wants the 3 exceptions. I don't know if she wants to come up here and tell you how she's gonna work the parking or different things. Yeah. The first exception that she's asking for is to allow a person other than the person that lives in the home to work in the business.
Eventually, I guess, just, I've had one of my clients that is certified in modeling, yoga, and stretching. It has brought so many good benefits to the people that she teaches, that she thought, well, maybe I can come up once a month, then we can try it out. And then I have had other clients that have worked in there, that they would love to do that. So I thought, okay, I just want to make sure I'm looking at this. How that works.
Yeah. Let's pause. I'm sorry, I should have got taken care of that. Thank you. Let's see the best part. No, I just kidding.
That's my.
Who are they here for?
All right.
But one of them away already, so that's right.
I can do that. Well,
I bet he's close. Text them.
Go ahead.
all right, go ahead, sorry.
I'm so sorry, Chief.
Didn't think about it. Might be busy there. All right. So the other Pilates maybe once a month to start.
Yeah, and not until the fall time. And my whole basement, it's open and it has a full kitchen and a full bathroom. And it's like a separate entrance, you know, from the downstairs, it's like above level ground.
So one of the things that we look at for home occupation, where it's not just the homeowner, it's the impact on the neighborhood.
Sure.
So I think those are the things I mean, I'm sure your home is lovely, or, you know, you have this places for it, but it's the on-street parking, it's, you know, any disruptions to a residential area, which I'm sure that's the living. So, you know, I want, personally, I want you to be able to do whatever you want in your home, but, you know, you have to look at that. If you have a auto shop, and you've got cars parked all over you, or,
Yeah.
you know, even high school or something, you know, a lot of people come and it makes a problem. So those are the things that we're kind of looking at, is to make sure that it's not impact. Yeah, so
You're gonna have 20 cars parked there.
So up to 8 people, and then, my driveway is fairly large, so I know for sure the 5 cars can park in there comfortable. And I know that one can park in front of my home. It is a cul-de-sac, but I'll make sure that they're parked closest to my driveway, so none is in the neighbors. And then, by the mailbox, it's just like some road and stuff. I have 1 or 2 cars can park there, or my neighbors next door. I'm really good friends with them. They would be okay with. one.
So excuse me. So at what point does it grow? That's, you know, you have 8 now, and then all of a sudden, like, you get 4 or 5 more in, and, you know,
No,
those
because-
things can happen, so.
Right, I will cap it, because I'll be the one in charge of it, just because we want to make sure that it's intentional, and that there is enough space for everybody and it's comfortable. We don't want it to make it like more of a productive way, as it is more of a place to go and learn. And so if you start having more people than, you know, 8 people, then you're gonna lose that line of line. I feel, I mean. Brother Wilson.
Either one.
He's my favorite.
How did your neighbor feel about that?
Oh, yeah. You wanna read them for?
We're grilling it pretty hard here.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm
I don't know
happy
which
to be
one we're
grilled.
talking about. I'm sorry I'm late.
Home occupation.
Oh,
Yeah, man.
so yeah, so looking at these. So let's treat them separately, they're kind of all really for.
Yeah.
pretty much married together.
The parking might just be the biggest thing, for you guys, and that's what I, you know, suggest. Much better. Yeah. Well, all the neighbors are happy neighbors, but my neighbors to the left, I know they have this. They like to call and complain for anything. And so, yeah.
It's not me.
He knows, no, it's not him. But they're a little bit, I mean, they're not that old, but I think at one point they got upset about exactly where my garbage can was placed. And so they called and complained, and finally I said, well, where would you want my garbage can to be? So that we stopped it over, but literally it was still my property. So it's probably my biggest incentive to kind of make this really clear.
So you're gonna keep it a small production. Most of the cars are gonna be in your driveway. And you have, somebody who doesn't live there coming maybe once a month, you get once.
I think so. It's like life stretching, you know, kind of a thing. But I'm not licensed to do that, so I just want to just, you know, I'll just do 1 hour.
1 month.
Is it like a weekend or weekday?
I don't know yet. Okay. I mean, I don't think I'll be able to work, it's not for my mom, so I don't have soccer.
So it's during the day when most people are going to work and it's, I would say some mothers or people who have those people.
I mean, I would hope so. Like I said, I haven't set up a time yet or anything. I would just kind of have to get a little bit of feedback on that. Yeah, that would be good. That's when I go work out. You know, my kids are in school. Anyway. Any other questions? Here.
We've got a discussion. Yeah. So, anybody? Concerns, questions?
Mayor, I'll make the motion that we grant this exemption based on what she's said with this, health and wellness, and I need to stretch and maybe I'll.
I think you should try it.
As a neighbor, I'll second it.
And what do you have any, conflict of interest?
No, I'm not a part of this business, so I didn't know about it until I got here, no.
Okay, good. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm guessing Anne,
And
I think she can just do a thumbs up or.
Yeah. I'll ask her to text me.
Either way, it passes.
yeah,
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
See ya.
yes, picture time.
Oh, see, did I delay the picture? I'm sorry.
We're waiting.
No.
I went to call people and tell me about it.
Thank you, yes.
See ya.
All right, where do you want to do? If you want to say that, you want to start with you, yeah, but. It's really the honor of seeing where it wants to be.
I was gonna be the photographer. Okay, no, I already had.
Each other.
They're more expensive.
Starting a systemic.
Sorry we made you come back, but we needed people at our council meeting. We're gonna take another picture in about an hour or two. Me? Wait, which one? Thank you so much.
Sorry about that.
We're gonna cover it soon, you know.
Thank you for coming back. Sorry. Thank you.
Should have gotten it before.
I've responded to voicemails.
I'm trying to show us how important you are.
No, just that I'm glad I'm managing my time.
I'm in your club today, Phil. Time management is a struggle.
Item 4, salary for just portion. Set the salary for the justice court judge to 31,443 for the fiscal year 2024-25 in accordance with the salary schedule and requirements outlined in schedule. Every year, the state sends us a letter, telling us what we're going to do. Did I sum that up pretty good, Amy?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Any questions?
Seems like a bargain.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve this state sponsored amount to item number 5, 31,443.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Gibson, second by Gary. Further discussion? What if you don't? I mean, it's a state mandated.
So we're just like ceremony.
Pretty much. Or the state would be happy to just eliminate our justice court.
And is it every Tuesday?
It's twice a month. That's. Is it a set time?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And sometimes we do more than twice a month. I will say part of the increase in the salary is because of caseload. Our caseload is really high right now.
It's more complicated cases and to answer your question about time, sometimes, I mean, like today I was 6 to 8, I believe.
I think it's
But sometimes then they set a trial for another night. Wow. Trial. The salary increase or decrease depends on the time. I mean, it's set, no, it's set.
So it's a bargain.
So we're gonna.
Where would the cases go?
Lawless society, everybody gets out.
So, or the state would take them at a district court level. And that's one of the things that they've talked a lot about with possibly dissolving the courts, and then if they move them to a district level, people would have to go and wait in a bigger line, probably in Ogden here, I would guess.
I'm fundamentally opposed to that. It's something they haven't even considered. I think it's a violation of constitutional right to a fair and speedy trial, because if let's take, for instance, they established a district court and they made it a district court. Everybody from Duchesne area, who knows about all that, have to travel.
Well, that makes sense.
No, it doesn't make sense,
Well,
because,
no, what I mean is that's unfair.
Yeah.
That's
well, even here, if I'm making somebody, maybe the only transportation to go into Ogden. We gotta find the right, or wherever it is that you have to go. It might not even be on, it might be fun. Just.
The idea is the justice court judge knows the community and knows how to
Right.
manage the community.
And I can come down and appear to a judge without being really a financial hardship. I think it would discourage, maybe the state would like this to discourage people from putting, not giving a speeding ticket or stop sign ticket or whatever ticket that so that's where I think it's just not in the fundamental of what this country is done. Okay, I got my full soapbox with my fault. Did I call for a vote already?
We already seconded, but we just.
Very good.
No, we didn't vote.
By
We didn't vote.
Gibson, second by Nelson.
Oh, sure.
Sarah,
What was it?
my bad.
It was Sarah.
Oh, Sarah, sorry, second by Yuri. That was great. All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Oh,
I heard a little faint, but
Sarah.
I'll call her tomorrow and ask her how she voted.
I think
can't-
She should be here any minute, yeah. We can clarify her votes when she arrives.
Item 7, sorry, item 6, another recommendations of award. Discussion of possible action to award contracts to the recommended consultants for property acquisition consultant pool.
This one's not as fun as the other awards we've done tonight, but it is important and it is fun. This definition of fun. So before you this evening is a recommendation to award actually a few different groups to serve as our property acquisition consultant pool. And part of the reasoning for this, we have received additional WACOG funds. And as part of that, they do require that we go back out to bid to basically reestablish a pool of property acquisition agents. We had 6 that participated in the process and ultimately determined a pool of 4 would be appropriate with what was submitted. It gave us enough diversity to work on different types of projects and to kind of work within that. So I don't know if there's any questions about the scoring of 5, sorry. That would be correct.
Yes.
So. Without saying specific things, I've been very disappointed in some of our property acquisition people that had a few years ago.
Yes.
And how do we vet that in this pool? I mean, are we tied to somebody, just we rotate through that pool, or if we find someone we like, can we utilize them?
And vice versa.
And vice versa.
Someone don't like it.
Yeah.
We can either find somebody
And
else.
exclude them, because I don't know if we've had a good one. No, and we may have, I mean, I know there's been some work, but it just seems like it's just a forever process.
So it has gotten better. We've had a few, and actually some of the ones that we're recommending to come back, we've utilized. But it really is kind of project dependent as well. So it's interesting, but you get a different skill set with the different acquisition groups or agents.
So some of these efficient in acreage or buildings, or, I mean, just.
Yes, I mean, we've even looked at, with some of them, like, they can do housing relocation. There's just several different skill sets that they have. But you're absolutely right to the question of, if we use them and it's a terrible experience, we don't have to reuse them. The pool just gives us an option of 5 different groups to go to ultimately.
But the options have to be somebody that submitted an RFP.
Exactly, and then it's been vetted through this process.
So,
So we could like choose somebody
Submit a
else.
project that you're planning on and sort of list some of the complications and then they would still have to resubmit for the project.
It'll be per project and some amounts there.
So you have to choose from the pool. You can't just say, oh, when I like this one. I prefer this.
Correct, and if we wanted to expand the pool, we can
that's
do
why we
RFP
want-
again.
So I mean, I don't see any costs here, and I know that's probably just project specific, but how do we, I mean, what does this mean by just having this pool building then?
So it really is just that option of when we need to go out to bid for a job, this is who we go to
So,
based on the skill set, and we know they have the skill set available. And then from there, we get the costs breakdown and we're able to identify how to move forward.
Each one will submit an hourly rate for deliveries.
So we haven't applied this for like grants and stuff on that, it's probably acquisition that they require us to have this.
okay,
Which
so,
makes sense, so that you don't have to give it to them.
well, so if you put it out like an RFP or something, which we're still gonna, even amongst the pools, we're still gonna have to request something and pay
Correct.
from that point, correct?
And not, it's not a legal requirement, I guess it depends on the project. So for example, we've had a pool right now. And there's been different projects where maybe it's a minor project, like we worked with Lamar maybe, and I want to disclose no relation to my family, but
How many babies are out there? Come on.
there's more than you know. We're out
I
there.
only know 2 now.
No known relation. Well, so Lamar is a one-man kind of shop, but he did property acquisition for UDOT for several years, so if it's like a right-of-way type thing and it's a smaller piece, we know that he's capable of jumping in and doing that. If it were a bigger, more expansive project, we'd probably work with one of the firms.
All right, I mean, I have no problem here, I have no problem necessarily with, it just seems like what we're doing, I'm gonna put it out there anyway.
Right.
And why we're putting this, I don't, if it has to be there for a bid, I guess that would cool. It just doesn't seem like. So
You can shorten your timelines for the project with the pool, because you're not giving them the bigger lead times, because you sending them out to the masses and reviewing all of them. Because then you'd have to do it at that level for each one.
Basically, you won't have to, really, we would only be required to ask for first project.
Mhm.
Yeah, good enough, that's fine, as long as it's short, but it's creating another.
No, and they're good questions.
Study or something.
So we would, if we were gonna do a property acquisition. Inside the pool from all of them, is that what you're saying?
Well, we would go through the criteria and see what kind of property acquisition, who listed in there, or basically. What raise and what, yeah, what travels attacking the rate. That's what she said, there's different property acquisitions, some have, the UDOT experience. Are great for right of ways, but that puts you might have to look at a piece of property, it's maybe. Put a water main on.
We're only betting in on cost though.
Yes, but that's. But we're going to go to the ones that have the expert. And that's what this was. Well, that's what they submitted.
So now we have a resume to go with the pool to say, oh, this is a good person for this, but then to Councilmember Gibson's point, if we have a bad experience with one of these agents, like we've had with other agents in the past, we can say, whoa, that was not a good deal. We're not doing that again.
Because, again, I don't want to be specific, I'm very hard not. It seems like they milk it. I mean, are they paid by job, or is it by hour, or is it, how do we pay a property acquisition person? I mean, is it
It
a
depends
commission
on-
on property that we sell? I mean,
It depends on how they charge, frankly. And so that's where some of them do hourly, some of them do based on the job.
because, 6 months later, we sell that property.
Right.
Is
That's,
that the two schools having? Million?
It will be with the ask for.
because that is a big issue, and I would like to clean that up, if at all possible, if we go through this process.
And I guess we've had a pool already,
right?
so this is just adding or tracking. But it just seems like, and maybe that's the speed of government. That.
Well, and I think to your point, I think we had a challenging situation with one of our larger projects, and so that probably looked a lot bigger and more challenging to the council, but we've really had, with a couple of the agents that are recommended to continue to be in the pool, some good experiences with them.
And I'm not saying specifics. Good, thank you.
Well, I do have a follow-up question for that too, though. This, the council, at least I'm not privy or have not been involved in any of our property acquisition discussions, and I don't know if that's just the mayor and Amy that are dealing with that. Or... No, I've never talked to them. I don't know why I was really talked about that and actually purchased property through them, but I've never
Met any of the agents.
Have been, I mean, how would we ever vet them based on that? I'm just curious if that's, I would like to have more access to them, I guess.
We're voting on it.
Well, no, I agree with that. I know what Steve is referencing to, but not particularly his recommendation, right? I didn't know that.
But if there is interest, and I do want to open that up for council members to meet anybody that we contract with, we'd be happy to facilitate that. I think that that's worthwhile and helps maybe raise your comfort level, because we are a smaller community and we contract out a lot of work. And so with this or other functions, you know, if you've got questions on who's the acquisition agent for that, and maybe that's something we can be a little bit more forthcoming on.
Has any of the council members met or discussed with any of the property acquisition? That's curious.
I have two different companies.
Yeah, sure.
I have one, so.
I mean, I appreciate it.
Good questions, though. Very good questions.
I'm sorry, I'm clarifying, we're going off of who got the highest vote by the 3-person committee, right? Is that what we're recommending?
4-person committee. I'm sorry, the numbers, I muddled them so badly.
So this committee member one,
Yeah.
but that is who we are recommending, so if you.
Not necessarily the top 5, though, by point scores.
But today, are we awarding the contract to a specific person, or we're just saying these 5 are the pool? These 6, whatever.
No, 5.
Yeah,
Academy
5.
Consultants, CLS, WCT, Meridian Engineering, Mar Navy.
So we're not recommending Sunrise
Got it.
Engineering.
Got it, okay.
And where did the pool come from? I mean, where did
These are people that submitted a bid.
yeah, these ones you.
Honestly,
So engineer, public works, planner.
I reviewed them, and the mayor was ad hoc. He didn't participate in the review
Yeah,
because he didn't want conflict.
They asked me to do it, I can do that, it's up, my score.
it doesn't sound like we have other options, we're just deciding if these 5 and the 5 will move forward to it. Okay.
And this, I will say, establishing this pool doesn't preclude us from doing another RFP and reaching out to other agents as well, but it does, to Tyson's point, just simplify the process for acquisition as needed.
So I'll make a motion, we approve agenda item 6, which is awarding contract to the recommended consultants for the property acquisition consultant pool.
Motion by Mrs. Secretary, on the fair side. Item 7, do we still need item 7? I think that.
Just as a discussion point, if that's okay, as we do have it in the budget for discussion as well, but the challenge is if the council determines the lease or, yeah.
Item 7, lease agreement for police vehicle, discussion of public to approve a lease agreement for new police department vehicle.
Okay, so this is something that came online pretty quickly. The chief has been working to secure a vehicle, with the transition of our animal services, and we're looking at moving that truck over actually to Public Works. They have some need for that. So with that, he's been pricing out and kind of weighing out whether or not a lease or a purchase is better. And I don't know, Chief, you're welcome to speak to this, but, the lease amount is $8,300 a year for
Yeah, that was just a
a
2 year.
2-year lease, or the all out purchase of the vehicle would be $53,000.
You would think 3 year lease would be less, but it's actually $1,700 more per year.
Yeah, if you went to a 3-year lease, and
Because of the interest rates, and the 2 year lease is just. Well, I ended up doing the residual, you end up putting the end of the lease if you want to buy the vehicle. And because we get the state discounts along with the one we're looking at is a new 23, but in the 24. So we're getting a discount for being a year old but new. And we're getting the state bid discount. So we're getting $13,000 off if we purchase it. If we buy it at the end of the lease, it'll end up costing us $10,000 more.
so Laurie and Amy and myself and the chief and Stetson met about on this for about an hour. 3 days ago?
Monday,
Monday?
yesterday,
Yes.
Sunday, I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, it was yesterday. And we came to the conclusion that if we bought it outright and kept it for a longer period of time, like 6 years or 7 years, and used it, one of the low mileage positions, like lieutenant or chief or whatever, and use that vehicle to current lease to patrol. So we could keep it a lot longer instead of rolling it over.
Administration detectives put considerably less miles on it. So we figured we'd keep it 5, 6, maybe plus years. Patrol seems to wear out about 3, or at least the point where they're off warranty, we want to get them back. So we have about 4 vehicles that we could do this with, but we chose.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to, this is kind of like the groundwork for if the county, because next year we have 10 vehicles, right? That we're looking for.
So.
That's why I said this was, our recommendation was going to be purchased outright, is included in our.
But this is not guaranteed the rest purchasing orders, it's just the agreement.
So this one right here would be approval of so there's 2 different policy decisions. Whether you'd like to lease a vehicle or purchase a vehicle, or I guess there's the third one, which is neither. And then we just retain the existing vehicle. So there's 3 options before you, but ultimately the recommendation is for a newer vehicle. Just with the transition with the animal services, because Braxton's gonna be doing police work as well, and then transitioning the truck that they've been using over to Public Works. It's not equipped for police work. That's,
Well, it's a 9-year-old one with 80-something thousand.
That's why.
I mean, it's one that we end up flipping next year probably anyway.
Currently, we don't have vehicles federal, you just have to equip it. Am I correct?
That one.
Yeah, well, that would be the other option to equip it, but we have currently have vehicles.
We have it.
Okay.
It's one that we retired in 2019.
What would we do, how would we handle animals, right, if this officer is still handling animals?
You still a police officer, so our.
that's what this one is that we're talking about.
These extended cab Ford trucks, we put a portable kennel in the back seat. And get over the side door, put the dog in that.
Jesse did. She had one.
So that's the truck we're talking about transitioning to Public Works.
The current one
The
is,
current animal control, the truck is the problem in front.
But we need a new cage, it's shot, but
It just seems like it's the better the truck, the better. I don't pick up a feral animal, we can put it in, I'm not an animal control officer, but I wouldn't put it inside my car.
No, we needed.
but I don't know if that's.
So, we can put a cage in the back of it, or like our canine, they have one inside their vehicle. And it's a large carrier, you open the side door, you just put them right in, it's enclosed. Whatever to hear,
Yeah,
I don't know.
it'll be them that has to deal with it, and imagine if they.
Yeah.
I was seeing a need for purchasing another vehicle. I think that's regarding, I mean, privacy of this.
Pictures of the vehicle. It's a single cab, the current one is a single cab.
It's extended, yeah.
It's an extended cab, how many miles long?
It's
80 something.
It is a crew, good program, good crew.
Or crew pack.
Does it have 4 doors?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we own that outright or we lease it? We do.
You own it?
Hired it in 19, gave it animal services for 5 years. And it's a rolling.
That's between animal control and code enforcement.
And police.
Please.
This just is the concern about it being old, that they would have to respond to police calls and that being a more reliable vehicle, is that the idea?
Yeah, and it's all, well, public work needs one, but I let them catch themselves. But, it'd be a good one for what they need. And we'd like one that is more commensurate to the one we have. And equip it to last, 5-6 years, rather than just piece one together, put $3,000 of equipment on it, take it off, and then have to buy $3,000 more equipment, because it may or may not fit the vehicle we get next year. We found out that year to year, equipment doesn't always fit.
Yeah.
So,
Not to mention, staying on service 5 years with the police has COVID. 5 years ago, it's different service to that. It's fine for just having control, but that's not what we're not.
Now, it's doing patrol.
The lease agreement is more, so we would have to, we don't have money in the budget, we would have to amend the budget and other things.
Yes, so that's why we're having this discussion earlier, because if you determine to lease or purchase a new vehicle, then that'll fall into the budget amendment portion.
Mayor, what I would like to see is, I personally don't feel like I have enough information. Very similar to some of the other things that we've been presented with. I personally would like to see what the status of our fleet is right now. I would like to see, because we had this discussion years ago with the chief, because we bought trucks years ago. Then all of a sudden it was the best thing to lease it and turn it back in. And then last year, we got hit with a cost on top of the lease. And there's just some things, and I feel like we're now maybe back to buying and extending them out a little further. I think.
I'd like to see another.
The lease prices have gone crazy.
Well, so to make a decision today, it's tough for me.
Mhm.
I can understand, we made that a new officer position. Really, we did, code enforcement, animal control, and a part-time police officer. Because those are not, those are 3 things that he's going to be doing. But I don't feel that you've given me enough information here. You have, how much was a month or a year for leasing? 8,000?
8,300.
For a 2-year lease. So,
So 83, so that's 16,600 for 2 years.
How much did we increase?
That's not.
That's not here. So I would like to know this, and maybe not even with this, maybe not even with this decision here, but I would like to see, chief, I'd like to see that brought to us and give us all the facts. And because if next year we're gonna have to worry about, the leases are coming up for all 10 trucks. That's a big deal. And so, I would say, let's do it for 2-year lease of $1,600. That doesn't seem like it's that much to get us to something else, but maybe we might change something, even our philosophy. If leases now are way out of whack. And if we could, because I've always thought that these trucks, can go 100, 150,000 miles now. It's not and they're still good trucks. You know, no, it's conflicted on this. And I feel like I don't have enough information, honestly, that's why, to really make a good decision at this point.
Well, what's difficult, and this is why it took us an hour yesterday, is because we're talking about a whole philosophical difference as to what we're gonna do with the plane, especially here.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a vehicle that is out there, that it's actually 2023, it's not a 2024. That is available. If you have, just in and of itself is amazing. Right. But yeah, the whole market is changing. This is the third discussion about fleets that I've had. Our department's going through the same thing right now. Because yeah, the climate is changing. Interest rates are up, so the leases are sky. Worse than that, it's the cost of the vehicles. You know, we used to get probably 2 vehicles for the cost of what one's. This vehicle was a $72,000 vehicle that we get for
58.9. Yeah. So can we, if we did lease it for 2 years, we have an option to buy it at the end of that 2 years?
We do, but at the price, you'll end up paying $10,000 more than the truck.
Just because of what? Interest? Or what?
Yeah. The residual again was, 10,000 more than what you would have paid for the truck itself because of the state discount and the year-old.
Well, can we negotiate that?
I mean, well, we did already, it's down, and it was hard to find a new 23.
Because if I go to lease a vehicle, I can negotiate that in possibly a bit. I mean,
No, they're not, trust me, I've been working on this a month. I've done 2 different lease companies and 4 different.
They can sell it right now for them too. They just sues that one. So they can sell it.
So,
They found them, they said, if we don't want it, it's sold, so there's no problem with that.
I don't know.
I can see the sense.
I want to make sure I understand the problem. Because it sounds like she's comfortable with putting a police officer in a vehicle that we took out of service 5 years ago. The police vehicle.
Was there problems with it, or why did we take it out of service?
Well, I think that it has got 80,000. Maybe to clarify that, I think the issue is we changed from an animal control officer.
Yes.
To another officer, but we didn't even consider this discussion. This should have been a discussion, I think, back at that point. We should be talking about how that officer was going to be in the vehicle. And then we've been all together, and I think that's the difference right now, but that's my impression.
No, to me, and obviously I don't work in the police department, but an 88,000-mile vehicle is like, it still runs, it still works, what's the problem?
Obviously.
Obviously they don't, but to me, you go explain that to somebody who lives in Pleasant City, and I've actually had people contact me recently about this, and the vehicles, and I can't give them a good explanation as to why a brand new vehicle would be better than a car that they also drive, that has that many miles, that they can get to where they need to go to, just as easy, so.
Well, there is a little bit, the trade-in value always has something. to do with it.
Right,
And there-
the trade-in, I understand.
You never own it and you don't push the limits. Maybe that's the limits. So if we turn this vehicle over to the public, what are we replacing there? Can Tyson talk to us a little bit about what that means to the public works? Because I think that makes a little bit more of a decision for me. If we own it outright, I don't want that to be, I don't know, Mayor,
No, so we're obviously having to rework our fleet, just saying last year, we tried to push out dump trucks to 15 years where the last several years before that, shooting for like a 10-year, but adding, try to get your plow numbers up. Pickups.
This is a pickup, so let's not talk about.
Yes.
Let's talk about pickup.
But we gotta think about the fleet as a whole of it's still part of that equation, is that trying to change into some of your smaller trucks within the more everyday. But we increased with the inspector the year before with the rising cost and all of it. If it's coming out of that same budget for us, your plows come out of the same budget that most of your money that you're asking for the pay at the store, like you're sharing some of those costs. So we got so I think it's a 14 to try to supplement getting the bodies, because our biggest deficit is man hours. The people that go and do all the work being asked of us. So we gave up requesting new trucks trying to get bodies. And so the new inspector drives their other older one. We're gonna make the request again for bodies for Moose Acre, and rather than disrupting the other, I guess, the overall fleet, we would put that person in that, so that I'm not trying to put the new truck, or I'm not trying to ask for a person and a truck. Put them in there, and we'll evaluate our bottom end, because we still have 2000 and I think it's 78 Chevys that we use for the part-timer generally, that most likely whenever we do come in for the budget request, we would that 14 from the year before for the new position. And we got this one for this position, we could request those 2008s to be rolled off the bottom. These have your part-time positions for the summer help, and they get hammered a little more than your
Good, running from police, animal services, to public works, not saying public works has no truck, but they need a water truck or a parks truck. The last two trucks, we've done that actually back when I started, that's about police trucks. Public works has always finished them off, those public work vehicles.
Which is why we, again, the cost of, I mean, 58,000 is still a really good price. But, you know, 3, 4, 5 years ago, it was 38,000. That's
I'm inclined to approve a 2-year lease at 16.6. Even if the payout at the end is a little bit more, I think that'll give us. Because I hopefully we can utilize this officer for more than just code and the animal service. I'd like to, utilize him. I mean, he does need some stuff. I think we need to have that cage on the outside of the truck. I don't want it inside. I think that'd be cheaper than just having some cages inside the back there, tie it down. I don't want to have that expense for something inside of the truck.
Well, if this is approved, what we'll do, we'll probably give animal services code one of the blue ones that's got lights in it now, put a cage in the back.
Well, anyway, I tend to think that that's the way I would like to vote, honestly, versus buy, because I just don't think we have a good direction for our future fleet. And I'd like to have that discussion. I think this buys, if the truck's available at that, we will have a buyout at the end, whatever it is, it's 10,000 plus. I think I would live with that versus spending 53 now and then be tied to that truck. And if we can utilize that in our public works, truly, that, it gives us a $16,000 benefit for our public works, possibly. I don't know. But I don't know what the trucks are there now, even we've got there, right? So it's just, anyway, that's my thoughts, Mayor. I think I could copy that possibly.
Can I throw in one more expense? Every time you get a new vehicle, you're going to spend about $7,500 to $8,000 to equip it. Just so you just know there's another expense on top of this.
So if you lease it, then you flip it with all those things, then
Yeah.
you don't buy it. You gotta get
Or something replace.
But we can buy it at the end. I mean, I think, there's a $10,000 trade-off. You spend 53 now, plus the 16, or excuse me, 53 now, or we spend plus the 8, or whatever, 8 to 10, so 63,000 for a truck.
You're talking about 25% of the time you equip it, so you're
fine, so, yeah, but you don't pull it out. and turn it back.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing, so it's,
Well, this,
I don't know that the fiscally conservative thing to do is to.
if you're putting the equipment on a marked truck, you know, that's very expensive. An unmarked is a little less. So this one would be cheaper because it would be an investigation or administration. But if you're gonna keep one, this would be the one to keep.
Which is what we came to yesterday in our one discussion, it's like, it seemed. Yes, it's a greater upfront cost, no doubt about it. Especially having, you know, it's like, so. I said, let's bring both of these council to see, because like I said, it's about 25%, 2 years.
So it's cut through then, I mean,
Well,
that's,
so, yeah, so it's 25% for 2 years, but then it get, you know, so 8 years, that would, the break even, you know. It's this transition problem we kind of got is, I foresee us changing our model. To see different, if we have that's, it's just, what was a great program under the leases, it's not so great.
well, we, you know, we wait to trucks because they're the higher resale value. And, you know, and then the four-wheel drive, and all that stuff has been. And supposedly the trucks have better suspension. We had cars at one point, but the front ends were those Chargers or what was it? Fall apart. And they just, the front ends fell apart on them and ended up being just a huge nightmare. And so I think the trucks have been a better, more reliable cover for the month. But
along with what Steve's saying, I think there is some good philosophy discussion. If it's gonna be changing our vehicles from police to public works, I don't know if that's, I mean,
That's the fun for. So, I mean, you're still buying you're inheriting all their maintenance issues. Like generally, if you're getting rid of something, you know, I'm ignorant of that. It's to fill a bigger deficit that you can.
I get it.
easily take.
I get
No,
that.
that isn't hard.
I get that, but, you know, I mean, that's what we do personally. We drive vehicles longer if we want to make them cheaper, so. But what I haven't seen here on any of this discussion is similar to what Steve's talked about. We need to see data. I think this vehicle needs to be purchased, or, I mean, we need a new one for an officer to be, which one we choose. I'd like to see the data, and I'd like to see a whole fleet spreadsheet on when we purchased it, what our goal is with that vehicle. Because in the 4 years I've been here, we talk about this, but we don't ever see it on data, and don't see a spreadsheet. Well, yeah, I mean, are we tracking the vehicle? Is there something that the chief has and he has that we're tracking these vehicles, both public works and police department?
And
What our expected life is, when they're coming, so we can put them in the budget.
so right now with what we've done with police vehicles and I'm happy to work with the chief and work with Tyson on, I know Tyson's got some Excel and some graphs and whatnot, but with the police vehicles, it's been this lease program that we've been doing. And so depending on the length of the lease is what we've been utilizing those vehicles for and then doing a trade-in and hoping to get some cash back. And just as a heads up, and I think the chief mentioned this in passing, but we are anticipating coming up, and Larry's going to confirm which budget year, 10 leases
No.
coming up. It's
Yeah,
not
not
this
coming
fiscal year in
following
this
year.
budget, but the following year, so FY 26. I mean, that's gonna be a big deal, especially with the
Just
shift
see the
vehicle.
budget tonight, like,
The police are still out of control next year, but we might want to do.
I do.
The 10 that are coming up, pick two
Do you
or
want
three.
Exeter?
and keep them, applying them out. You know, those trucks run sometimes during a 12-hour shift, they run the entire 12 hours. And they're running, they'll be out of warranty at the end of 3 years, so then we inherit them. You know, as is. But the police company has been selling them for us and giving us the profits. And in 2022, we got over $20,000 back in selling those vehicles over the residual. So and we were leasing 10 vehicles in 2019, or maybe 22 also. We were leasing 10 vehicles for the price of buying one. And that's when it was a good deal. That's all of a sudden not such a good deal anymore. So that's why we got to look at a new system or how
That,
you want to proceed
that,
with it.
moving forward, like, on a lease, when the time expires, you just put them all back in or whatever, right?
But the lease company was buying them, it's the Spankor company, if I went with them, they were buying the lease out, selling them, then giving us the profits back. So on the 19 vehicle, I think there was maybe 8 or 10, we got $20-something thousand back by just turning them in with the lease company.
I can see like if we own them, you're saying that we, different people drive different amounts. You may be able to hang on to some longer, but it's not a time frame. You maybe you will set a mileage, number.
Yeah.
And so if we're
That
not
would be the year to start picking ones like school resource truck, detective trucks that don't get a lot of miles. It's hard to turn a truck in after 3 years with 35,000 miles. So those are the ones we keep. Matter of fact, we've got 19 out there now that our part-time's driving. It was a school resource truck. And it's still only got 30,000 miles. So it's a keeper. Now, anything that's in administration, whether we buy for administration or investigations, those trucks will be keepers. Marked ones are ones that we will, most of them want to get rid of. So when I say 10 are due next year, doesn't necessarily mean we're gonna turn all 10 of them in. Because the lease program has changed so much, we'll pick the 2, 3, 4 that we want to keep and then deal with the ones we don't want to keep.
Mayor? Yeah. And this is just an observation, but you drive a brand new truck. Right?
Well,
Well, why wouldn't that, I mean, you can turn some of those back into these. Maybe some of these older trucks, do those, or, I'm not saying that the animal services truck you would drive, but is that?
That's kind of what I think he just basically.
Well, I know,
It's going forward, if we buy our trucks, then we can manage it easier.
but we always have.
Instead of the lease, where we turn back in and get the trucks, so everybody can have the truck.
I've got a fully equipped unmarked truck. Before I send our animal service code guy out in that dog truck to handle police calls, I'll give you my truck. I'll drive.
That's the plan. Maybe.
Yeah, I just like to see it on paper. I just want to see the whole life of the vehicle, who's driving that, what our intention is for it. There's a lot of data that goes into this, but it's just all. It's a very discussion we have. It's hard to tell where it is.
We get monthly mileage things from the gas car company. And so I just went through.
You see a lot of that on page 19.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, I think this is leading over the budget conversation, because we're talking about a $270,000 increase year over year, 4% increase in budget. And I think that officer safety is almost an irrebuttable argument, right? That's why Weaver County has MRAPs that drive it, when it's a real thing, right? And we want officer safety, and so it's almost impossible to put an argument that, but there has to be a point where we can have a discussion, right? It's not 10,000 miles, we throw the truck away and buy a new. So I think our question is, where is that line? And so 80,000 miles is out of the question, you can't use that in police work anymore, I don't know.
Oh, never got information to us, and that it's just something to back up that information.
Bill, I would ask you a question, because you're common sense, and you've got the numbers and all those different things. What would be the best thing for us right now as a city council? A 2-year lease, 16.6, a outright buy for 53. What do you think?
I think we need a vehicle, and I don't know, again, I don't know if we need a vehicle. I don't know if Tyson needs a vehicle that we pass on, or if we're just saying it's at 80,000 miles, let's get rid of it. That's what I don't know. But if we need a vehicle, then buy it. I'm in the buy. It's 20% possible.
I don't and you tell them it, but they're talking to somebody who doesn't understand, so school me, give me that, and give me information on why we need it and why, and data to back that up.
That's something you have on.
Oh, I was just gonna say, one thing you gotta keep in mind is that the answer is yes, like, I know we don't have it on the paper, but we really do need a vehicle. I totally see your point of you don't have the data, but the truth is, we do need one. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, you gotta keep in mind to equip it, to put the police equipment in, is the bid that we were getting is between $5,000 and $7,000. The struggle I have with the lease thing is now you're doing that every 2 years. So I think you take out a lot of the profit of the lease thing, because you're spending that money to, you're spending three to 35, 6 visits small. So for what it's worth, the numbers and stuff that I put together, and I don't have them all over down, it's just been here and there, but I think you get such a good incentive on the purchase, plus the install, a couple of benefits are you own it. You're not at the mercy of the lease company. They're not going to show up in between May and.
But what about the meeting, it's all those things with it, that goes away with time of this.
What's that?
And that's why I was attracted with it, but here's the history, Steve. So we started out with 4-year leases. And you put the equipment in 4-year lease, and the leases were like $100,000. And all of a sudden, they bought in Y2K and all this stuff, and it's like, well, we're gonna change to a 3-year lease. You're still doing the installs and then de-installs, if you will, to sell them. And it's 3 years, it's like, now it's like, okay, we're down to 2 years because they want the vehicles back. Basically, they want the vehicles back. So you're paying top dollar in a lease for a 2-year vehicle, which normally if it was an unmarked vehicle, no equipment needed, you're just driving the vehicle, probably wouldn't be that bad. But the fact that you do have to spend, $7,500 to put the equipment in and then take the equipment out again in 2 years makes it so. That's why, like I said, that's why we're having the whole discussion. This is a problem. I mean, this is a problem we are very well aware of and are looking to change the program or figure out the program, especially for next year when we have 10 vehicles that are going to go off lease. It's going to be a big decision. Can we buy 10 vehicles out for $600,000? Probably not. We're going to have to come up with something creative to see, and hopefully interest rates will go down, or but we're not counting on it,
If we're gonna start purchasing them, because this is the 23 and we get state bid, and we get $13,000 off. If we're gonna start purchasing them, and I think that's the way things are leaning, this would be a good one to purchase because of the 13,000 off. It will go into investigation or administration. It will be a 6-7 year keeper. If we lease it, we'll be flipping the equipment and turning a valuable truck back in or paying $10,000.
And I agree, that's what we gave. Yes,
There's these 2 trucks that are out here parked in the parking lot, don't get very often. Who's the most?
One is Braxton's old one that goes to the new hire next week because he's in the dog truck. And the other one is for our part-time officer to work for a spare to where we can cars go down. We're utilizing them both.
Is there?
Pardon?
Is there any virus?
Jesse quit. We moved Braxton into her position. Now we got back to Braxton's. We're short of officer.
I think I would replace. Jobs.
Yes. We just offered the job to a gal. She'll start this week. One of those people. Sure.
Just going back to what Bill said, most of the decisions are made with funding with the school district and anything else, but funding requests are made. There's always data presented. It's not so much and it's not that I don't trust anybody firmly to the fact that we really need to see something of that. Information, we need all of those things, and that's easy for me to go to the resident who says, why are we spending X amount of dollars on things? When I can say, well, look, we have the information and it's actually good data that's compared to other cities and all of those things, not just fleet
In
is.
2022, which most of our trucks are, we release them for 6,000-ish a year. So we could get 10 of them for like $65,000. Now, if we want to buy them, we buy one. Now, that has changed a lot. Because those leases have gone from 5, 6 to 8, 10. So a lease is not a good option now, but if we get state bid, and especially state bid on a year-old truck.
And we had
That-
some
that
people that's sitting on this information, this was the chief that been putting this together, came to us yesterday and said, we got a problem with what we got going here. Things are changing. And, you know, as we hashed out, it's like, it makes absolutely no sense to me to think that we would come in here today with the entire fleet laid out, to ask for a vehicle and to make a decision better, whether we should lease it or purchase it, and we haven't made that fleet-wide decision yet as a whole. Why would we do that and come in with that kind of data for this one vehicle?
This request suggests to put an officer in a vehicle that wasn't retired 5 years ago. That's all I'm looking
I'm
for.
curious, how long will we know that all of that 10 vehicles we're gonna get next year?
At least of all, we do.
So why?
We
We
anticipate.
don't know what the costs are. We don't know what the costs are for those 10 vehicles for a year. There, we can't say, what are you gonna lease those vehicles next year?
Thinking about what to
But
do.
but when we come to do this one, we found out, hey, man, cost of leasing the vehicles going up. We gotta figure out what we're gonna do for 10
It
vehicles.
took me 2 months to find this.
Can we make a motion with it's stated as a lease, can we make a motion to buy on this? We need to have that.
So what I'd recommend if you have interest in buying is, we can address that in the budget amendment portion and decline on this particular item.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to table item number 7. I'll make a motion that we table item number 7 and bring it back up in the budget. But I think it sounds like we're best deal is to buy this one particular thing. And I personally think we wasted enough time on this. With that motion, I do want to see going forward some more data as we address the 10 or the need. I'm not saying I need that today to make a decision on this particular one. But I don't want to just make a decision on this, spend $50,000 to do something different. That's the only thing I was saying.
This will be a major discussion.
Yes, correct. So, you know, we'll have this one.
Like maybe a whole work session.
So, I mean, I agree with everything that's been said. I just, but anyway, I'll make a motion. I've stated the motion.
Second. Okay, discussion, and you have to.
Yeah, I just want to comment that I think as we see the future that we need to address 10 vehicles, we have an opportunity to buy a vehicle this year at this price. We're gonna have to address it now, we're gonna have to address it later, so, and it's gonna be like budget heavy next year when this does come up. So I think it's, in my opinion, I would support buying a vehicle this time.
Do we anticipate vehicle prices going down in the future? No, I can't see that happening, so.
I hope so.
If not, you know, maybe not, maybe,
But lease rate, yeah.
but then that's like, we won't know until next spring.
Good. Vote, the motion is the table, that's
Motion's the
held budget.
So then we're gonna have to budget right now.
After.
Sorry, we've got an item 8.
All right, so the motion was by Gibson, the second by Nelson to table item 7. All fair say aye. Aye. Any opposed? They will move on to 8, multi-jurisdictional building inspections agreement. Discussion of possible action to adopt an agreement for by state building permits in accordance with the code. And 6160 is presenting.
I am the presenter. Okay, before you this evening is an item to address some changes that went into play with the last legislative session. The state enacted this with the requirement to have a May 1st implementation date. And so with that May 1st and the tight timeline with when the session came out of play, we did make some verbal agreements with North Ogden and with the other contractors to temporarily get us through to today to get this on the agenda. So before you this evening is an agreement with North Ogden City, and the reason why we only have an agreement with one entity and not three entities is because our building inspector has a contractor that he works with at his rate that we can utilize as a secondary contractor. And then also Jones and Associates, who we work with, have a building inspector on staff. And so we have three options in play with the requirements of the state code. So this is a new change in the state code, and I'm going to read from the section referenced in on your agenda 10.6.160, but it's 2B. And this is kind of where this came into play. So it says if the city cannot provide a building inspection within 3 business days after the day on which the city receives a request for the inspection, the building permit applicant may engage a third-party inspection firm from the third-party inspection firm listed. That's described. And so we're establishing this list through this agreement. The agreement was drafted between myself and John Call, but we've also had our legal look at this and provide, Mike House actually provided some comments to add a section here just talking about the fact that we supervise our employees, they supervise theirs, and basically address and identify those supervisory responsibilities. It's number 7, employment is what Mike House had added, but with that, he didn't have any additional changes. I don't know if there's any questions. Ultimately, we don't anticipate use of this. Currently, Tyler is very fast at responding and getting those inspections scheduled once a permit has been approved and is in the queue. But if that were to take place, we do have, and I believe it's $60 or $65. I'm gonna have to find that amount here. Yeah, that we would pay one another in exchange of other service for an hourly rate. So I don't know if there's any.
So originally, like, just like, this little background, so this is a little, I reached out to our legislator and said, well, this is, basically they wanted to establish, we hadn't established this before, and they said, nice. And what I believe was, what I personally believe is the developers want to be able to use their own people to do inspections and then pay them whatever they don't pay. And then they were gonna make the city on the bill. It's just like an open checkbook. And not only I, but most mayors really reached out and said, hey, you know, this is not good. So this was kind of a compromise. Like Amy said, but we don't really even anticipate using it, but we still have to have that.
So it's an overflow valve. So
Yeah. You're right.
So, and maybe I don't understand the full scope of this, and I understand the overflow valve or whatever, but we've had this interlocal agreement for other things, it's never worked. Done this 3 or 4 times for different things, we've always pulled back. I don't anticipate this being any better. And if we have Tyler is our inspector, if he's contracted to do it within 3 days, and then he has a pool of people that can do it, why would we not then just, well, just.
There's some jurisdictions that have not met the requirements of the state law for the 3 days, and so this is why this law came into effect and the
We have
requirements.
an inspector that's not.
Don't matter, they passed it for. It's the bad actor called.
Well, but for Pleasant View,
So famous.
but for Pleasant View, what does this do for us? But if they, I mean, how's that gonna, I mean, if we're at day 2, we haven't got someone calling somebody from North Ogden, if that's still Tyler, if he's still doing it for them, how does that help? I don't understand.
Tyler doesn't work for North Ogden. They have in-house inspectors.
It's focused on the state legislature, but honestly, the compromise is.
I understand, but it's, I don't know.
Can I say that? It's really stupid.
I'm not saying it's stupid,
No,
but it just seems like
It doesn't do anything.
if we want to have something, and then, you know, something comes in, I mean, Tyler has, how many people say working with him? I don't know.
So
Is there-
for his staff, he has a staff of 3, but one of the individuals that'll be in our pool is an independent contractor that's separate from Tyler.
I just-
Has he ever developed a building plan in 2 weeks?
No,
and I don't, you know, I don't argue, I guess I am already, sorry.
No, I agree with you, Steve.
It just doesn't, we've never had an internal agreement like that work. Have we?
I don't know what ones you're referring to.
Oh, we've had.
It's like that, like engineering. like you
Engineering, we had, it's just, oh, we're not,
This is not the same kind of thing.
well, but, okay,
We're not really sharing.
okay.
That's not the goal here at all, is not to share.
It's providing an option if we don't.
And they get picked. Do we get picked as the developer?
The developer gets to
Yeah,
pick
so
which
let's say
one
here's
of
our
the
pool.
pool they'd like to utilize.
That's all be the same cost to the city. That's what it's for.
Why does the state require them to allow them to pick? Why would they?
Yes, that's the deal to pass that.
The compromise was they actually wanted to choose their own.
Excuse me, why can't the city pick who that is? Well, why do we get to, well,
We give it 3 choices.
well, you would think that we don't have our own inspector, and then it would be a third party, not necessarily a public entity that we do, local, but. And we would determine, they would not have,
I agree. That's
Well,
what
and
we're doing.
with the question with the public entity, I do understand what you're saying. The challenge is honestly, the timeline in which we've been given to work with this. So I don't know what day the session got out, but the governor just signed this into effect a few weeks ago, and May 1st is the implementation date.
So we're all, yeah.
It's really nice.
It's totally ridiculous. 100% ridiculous.
So if an independent person, that third, whoever that is, if they don't have a standard, I mean, they have to expect it with the city standard, correct?
Yeah.
So what,
They have to be certified.
so what, I mean, do we have to go double check what theirs, I mean, if they pick somebody, I don't know, I guess if we're picking the 3, that's all.
Because that's kind of my concern too,
That's
is
why
like,
we're-
if we bring someone in, that's, from another city, and they don't do the job that well, then are we still kind of liable for that?
Yeah, I'm just sticking point with legislature, because they were just like, yeah, you get, we're gonna pick our own inspectors that no one gonna look for. Oh, what?
So the liability goes on us, not the city,
Well,
where
that's-
the inspector came from.
So was it really to avoid allowing developers to choose their own inspector? So it was kind of the compromise that the league, maybe the state legislature.
It wasn't the league.
I thought it was the league, it's not what you said.
Oh,
No.
everybody can play.
No, it wasn't the league.
The response I got back from Ryan Little Cox was that town was.
I'm not sure.
Out of division based on all the mayor reached out.
Yeah.
And so he did, he did revise it.
In our American side, we have, it's law, we have.
Yeah.
So
Our only choice was do the 3
We
weeks.
can go out to bid and get.
We have to choose 3, so these are the 3 that chose, but yes, that's 3.
a response to Ann's question though, number 10 in the agreement is the indemnification portion, and that does state that any negligent acts would fall on basically us or the other city. It's not
The
something that,
original city.
yeah, and that's where, again, that employment comes into play too, just to, again, reiterate, it's like, this is my employee. They can't just call in direct and say, actually, I really like how he's been doing inspections. I'm gonna use him more. And then suddenly it skyrockets with the use of that. It's really, we tried to very carefully lay this out with what we've been given to.
Unfortunately, there are some agencies out there that they do not get their inspections done. in 2 weeks.
The roads.
Perfect. And that's why this is being thrust upon every city. It's because of another bad actor law in the city, that the state likes to do. Like was stated, we haven't had a problem, don't have a problem, we're not anticipating a problem. So, but we're required to have those 3 if we were to have a problem.
can you explain it to me though a little bit more in terms? We get a request for a building inspection, right? Tyson's our current inspector. Tyler's our current inspector.
It's coming.
And if he can go do it within 3 days, great, we allow him, right? If he can't do it, what's the next step?
He either gets to choose his own, or we have to have this overflow valve. This is our.
No.
He has to choose people.
Yeah, so
If we didn't have this agreement.
Well, we gotta have.
State votes,
We have-
yeah, I mean, it
So,
doesn't
so
say
it's
votes,
actually
so you
choose
choose
from
one.
the pool of the three.
And the thing,
The developer
Developer.
or the property of whoever's asking for the inspection
And then we can,
could go and say, okay, who's available in your pool? And we would name 3 different people in our event. They could say, okay, I want such and such.
I did ask
And
him
they would do that, they do it on $65.
if the 3 days was set.
I don't believe so.
So they would have to.
Yeah, so that's the concept behind the 3.
What are we paying Tyler as the grand saying 65?
60.
But Tyler has never not been an issue.
Correct. We've never had an issue. Honestly, my biggest concern with this, and I don't foresee an issue with North Ogden.
Yeah.
It's just if other
Yes.
entities that we entered an agreement with. So for example, the county actually brought forward an agreement to us and said, let's do this as a countywide thing. And that was even scarier because let's say you have an entity that is a bad actor, that they're constantly using our building inspector, and then his schedule's getting overrun. I mean, that's my biggest
So
fear
we
with
were
this.
in that agreement, oh no, well, because he didn't.
can we deny a request here? Like, let's say North Ogden starts bearing us with like,
Yeah, no, you can't have her.
We
Yeah.
don't have that, so
sorry,
use somebody else, I mean, we can say, no, we're not.
Tyler is very good at what he
They
does.
not do the next person.
I know this isn't fun. This was not my idea.
I called Amy about it too. As soon as the agenda came out, I called her up and said, school meeting, what is
And
this?
I am very sorry that we are not here before May 1st. I really, truly, that was a tricky thing with the timeline.
This is a newly enacted law, this SB 185, and this year is when it's.
Mhm.
It's not even.
No,
Well, what's
this
crazy
was an
is
active
this,
sign.
when the governor signs a bill, usually it takes 90 days to take it back,
Yeah,
and this one. like,
Everybody was a little taken, just like, what?
it was like-
Why? Why?
It is in the code. Do you want me to send you the section?
It's just not on West law, so I'm just.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
No, it's new. The governor just signed it a few weeks ago, but. Sorry. Oh, very bad
We
news.
wanted motion that we approve the multi-jurisdictional building inspection agreement according to the new code that has been passed, 10-6-160.
I'll second that.
Motion by Ayrton, second by Yeager, any further discussion? Is this a roll call?
There's an agreement.
It's.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Item 9, public hearing to amend the budget discussion of possible act.
Yeah, we probably want some good tonight, this is gonna be awesome, let's go.
This is why I have a soda machine for nights like this.
No, I don't know what to do here, that's not advertised. Is it? Is it for the fiscal year 2023, 2024?
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. Got the wrong year. I don't know what years we are anymore.
But it's,
Look at the paper,
Yeah.
Scott, this is 22.
oh, got it.
This is 24, but-
Yeah.
Is that a?
How did I?
deal?
Well,
I guess that maybe. So, I mean, what's our timeline on this? What's the?
what items do we have on there?
Sewer fund, storm sewer fund. river replacement fund.
Most of them are Tyson's except for Ryan's truck.
So we got for a new police vehicle.
So, next meeting, can we do it, or Tyson, do you need answers before next meeting?
The one's an emergency essentially that's already underway.
Which one?
The 900 or the 900 West Alder Creek detention pond. It's got a breach and all there's essentially a large amount of water flowing through the body of the pond.
And we
We
do
don't know
have
where it's
emergency
from.
expenditure provisions in our purchasing
Yeah, so
code.
we can deal with it that way.
But it's the police vehicle, seems like the one that we need back on. Certainly.
The jetter truck for the sewers kind of worrisome because technically we're without a sewer company, and so you don't have a way to meet emergency obligations. You had a backup, we have zero equipment to deal with that. We, aside there is an interlocal that we've never had to use that. It's followed up. So we could probably make the next week. Or next meeting for our stuff.
What does that do with the vehicle that we spend all the time debating? Does it still have 2 weeks to decide that?
Not really.
Yeah. We have money to spend right now, but we don't need to amend the budget to do that, and then amend the budget.
All right, what do you feel?
I think given the fact there's no public here, it's, it is on the resolution, reference in the agenda item correctly listed in the resolution, I think we probably would be.
Imagine a typographical, nobody thinks we're amending last year.
You can amend
I
a
mean,
future
we
year.
call it to attention here. It's not
Yeah.
like we're trying to slip anything by. I think we're okay. We could,
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we move the public hearing to amend the budget, and reference, I'd like to reference resolution 324-K in my paperwork as the official document. About that, noting that the agenda is wrong, but the resolution of the meeting is correct.
yeah, I'll second the motion. Any motion to go to public hearing? All fair side? All right. We're in public hearing, we're going to present it, and we'll ask for input.
So you want to look at the resolution that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bullet points. I think we've changed it 3 times. But I think the one that was on your counter here. You want to look for the one that has, the last bullet point has the welcome sign in the amount 6,000. Last bullet point. Okay, so I don't know if Tyson wants to talk about these items. They are his.
So we would still have to come back with the jetter truck. We haven't picked one, or we've got a couple we've been looking at for pricing. It'll be kind of new to us. Pro Pipe ended our maintenance contract. They've been our sewer maintenance, stormwater maintenance for 30+ years, and they pulled out of Utah. The companies that are left don't really cover your emergency requirements, and even in city contracts, they won't sign that they'll do 24/7, 365 emergency call outs. The company that did that pulled out. So this trailer, where the goal or the hope is the intent that you could break it loose enough to get them by over the weekend, holidays, remain as running sewage or storm drain blockage down the roadways or phones that bias where you can get the back company out, whoever our future contracts with. Efficiently some of the structures out. So that's what the goal with that real jetter trailer is. I think, we talked about some different uses for it, and that's why the storm drain elements in it. They've been actively getting after culverts more as our storm waters started to work to get in compliance. So they started on the west end. A lot of your driveway culverts, they get plugged off. If you were hiring Pro Pipe out, clear those for generally 14 to $3 grand, depending on how it's stuck to block it.
What are your lifestyles?
I think something like that, that's something you're generally sitting on until your maintenance outweighs. So that it could be 5 years to maintain. Yeah, I don't think it's something you're like our compressors. Compressors things like that aren't everyday use, so that it's generally got one off. So your maintenance outweighs your benefit. You would just.
I think it's good for us to have something like that. I mean, just when that happens, you gotta have.
Exactly.
It's just, you get flooded basins, it's gonna cost a lot more before you know.
What kind of training you get people up on there? You guys just know how to operate it, you have to train up on it.
It's the general concept is like some of our other equipment, a lot of the other equipment, you just don't have a reel type. So this is the 500-foot reel where you can essentially do manhole to manhole. We just wouldn't have the back capability, so I don't think it would be difficult. We have a back trailer, but it doesn't get to your sewer depths generally, and then it's a long nozzle with the high pressure wash. Debris. These are. If you could in some scenarios, but most, yeah, for the sewer, you're just trying to get the blockage to get the flow to continue gravity. So that's how you could just do it without block that.
I'll have to do the next one.
900 west, the detention pond, there's seepage. We started to investigate that, it's kind of into what you're trying to fix a marker. But then once we got inside of the structure with the video feeding the lines out of entering the structure, there were multiple settlement breaks and pressurized water getting into the storm drain system, essentially running down the ravine. So that's water outside of the pipe that shouldn't exist or be in that structure. So it's essentially running through the face or the interior of your pond wall.
How far is it? It's down in the all the creek to the west of all the creek subdivision right down. Yeah. But big ravine, so thankfully the ravines that catch that water.
So this one's way, it's kind of like a garden down there.
Yeah, it's tucked down in and what is that? 41
Place. I'm thinking the same thing. You're up to that.
Oh, no, you're talking about a sinkhole. That's the rock. Yeah, that's great.
Oh, that's a beautiful place. I looked at when I read it.
So it's due west of that, a couple of blocks.
Okay.
That one, you got a couple more storm drain.
And again, this was an emergency thing that we've already started.
Yes, they started doing the investigation. That's where the TVs come from.
Where are they? Oh, so we have a next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the third party was, not the third parties.
We'll end up hiring somebody. Yes, so we'll come back again. Depending on what that comes in, and we don't know what we're gonna need to fix it yet. We don't know that.
That's good.
Yes, this is those, yes.
Okay, item 3.
Oh, well, Amy just left, but it's the sound system, 20,000 to see if we can get a new sound system here, new mics. We're gonna keep those, get rid of the speakers. So we haven't gotten the bid back. We didn't do it. We kept the old sound system. These are all old.
Yeah.
What was the sound system? What was the upgrade in the sound stuff? that we did?
They changed a few of the, I don't know, boxes that we've had, but we kept the sound system. So it wasn't,
Is that
Little-
gonna make it any easier for you to order things out?
no, it's just really annoying. We can't audio, video sometimes. And
Sound system. Here.
well, I take notes, but sometimes you cannot hear people. If people are taking notes from a video, it's hard to hear.
So you don't take, how do you take, how do you?
It's
It's
being
through the
taped right
system,
here.
it's through the Zoom.
I also think, I mean, I was just recently zooming today.
Oh, yes,
Here you go.
I heard that. So-
Yeah, it's just
Talking to the microphone.
Yeah.
fuzzy.
Yeah, and I think
Is there a
people
reason
are
why-
zooming in more often on.
It's the reason why we did it in this budget, and we can't put it in the next year's budget.
We just want to get it done.
Years.
Well, we haven't had a live, I don't know, you've had troubles too.
Yeah,
Also, I'll give you an example. I recently reached out to the woman that's been doing our minutes for planning commission. And she's had a 1-year contract that's up within the next couple of months. And I said, just trying to be proactive, trying to be aware of what, why she notified us that she wasn't going to continue. And I just want to say, be aware of any blind spots I might have about working with me and or anything else. And I said,
can you give us a reason why you chose not to renew the contract? She said, actually, it's too hard to hear, the recording from the sound system. Because she's down in Murray and she doesn't, listens to the meetings. So that was one of the two reasons. I can't remember the other reason. She specifically said
Personal reasons.
she couldn't be the minutes.
Does she do other cities? I mean,
I believe she does full-time for Murray, so.
so have we got a bid on this? Or is this?
We haven't got, that's just a guess. We've met with Mike, but we haven't gotten a,
Yeah, we met with Mike on Friday in here and, I mean, you heard and sorry, Ann, I had to turn you down because it was squeaking like
Who's my,
Pro-Edge,
Pro
sorry.
Edge. So they're the contractors that have helped us with the sound system
so
prior.
the one that said all that.
We don't even have an amount. We don't even know.
We guessed.
We're working on getting a bid. So we talked with Mike. So when I first started, I asked Mike for a bid. And he said, oh, I think this system's okay. We can get it working. And then the problems have just continued to persist. And I'm like, Mike, we want a new system. We need a bid.
That's my, hey, let's do this. Make sure we do it right.
That's 6 weeks ago.
Let's hear it.
Also,
Maybe at that time we can get a bid.
the camera, so you can see the speaker.
Well,
Back of their head.
yeah, I agree, but maybe that's when you can get a bid of actual numbers instead of.
Mhm. And part of it too, I mean, you see, and I don't mean to diminish our wonderful sound system, but like the speakers are quite old. Mike was recommending that we do ceiling speakers that really go out because part of the reason why we have so much feedback is because of the location of our speakers. There's some, I'm not certain.
I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, I just put some in our offices and like it'll track their stuff, it'll track who's speaking, video, it'll switch to whoever and I think it's good. Well, it's not, I think it's under 20,000.
Yeah, that seems excessive, but let's get a quote.
Good.
But that's my thought, is like, wait 6 weeks and let's get a quote.
We just don't want to do it halfway.
Yeah,
And I don't know if you all have noticed, but the microphones seem to be wearing a little.
Mary just like have a.
I do think we could get a quote and then have an idea of what, because maybe it's 35,000.
Right, right.
Get
All
a
right,
couple.
let's
Yeah.
move on to line 4 then.
That's the reason.
And 4.
This is the one with, that we're actually gonna go out and purchase the vehicle for the police, if that's what you decide,
This would
and the
be
equipment.
purchase, we currently table lease, so when we talk about purchase, right?
Yes.
And for the CRO, certain, oh, it's for the CRO. right?
So the total would be 66,550.
Because of the equipment
It really
itself.
is not on this CRO.
What
If
is
we
CRO?
purchase, community resource officer. If we purchase this outright, it's going to be an admin or
For admin.
6 and that, 75, 50, give a detective or admin, we can cut that down.
plus, and we got to take that one down, so let's move on to the last one. This one was a surprise to me. I haven't heard anything about this. It's an admin, yes.
I'm very well, I heard about Steve, it was this year idea, that was Steve's idea.
I think we can point that.
Well,
No, you want it to be more permanent, though.
We almost like this,
Now, would this be both sides, or just the?
I asked for it to be put on. That's where we're in trouble for it.
No, You're not in trouble for
But,
it.
that was a number we threw out, the old one rotted out, so the old ties they used from that scout project and rotted down, and we had already propped it up once with a hidden T-post and.
That was me, so I was 14.
Oh.
Yeah, I want to buy the old sign. Is it not there anymore? I'll buy it.
No, we're finding it made a good run.
Is it someone?
It's this, the East End one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
No, sorry, I'm talking about well, we did both of them. We did the, Buckby Drive, and then we did the one by Pepsi.
So that one, yes, it has the old,
I just
or
want to buy it.
their old plastic
It'll reduce our.
lettering that we actually like have been painting
We'll sell
on.
it to you for $15.
Rotted on.
Freaking negotiator.
Oh, the one down on
No,
the.
it's like, doesn't.
Oh,
Across from the-
Oh, no, I'm not saying there aren't others, but this one literally rotted out and fell over.
I called Dyson, I said.
So this is the golf course.
Oh,
Yes.
Pleasant Drive, Pleasant View City, down there.
That's the one that got hit by the drunk driver, in Pleasant City Park.
Yeah, we got that, and it's Sean, we're trying to get that back up.
That's awesome.
But this is just the cost to replace the one that's officially rotted out,
So
fell over.
shouldn't we do, I mean, are we gonna do a hodgepodge of signs, or should we have all the, how many signs? do we have?
That's
Some of
where I
these-
wanted to come, because we were talking stone, I like this, the metal one, like they did at Pleasant View Park. But
Yes, that's not.
but we do historically have been doing stone at all of our news.
I don't support, stone. It'd be great after a while. Metal, cut metal, when we had City Park, I think we should do something like that and just eventually replace those. Well, there's four. We have five, actually. There's Alberta, Pleasant View Drive, 600,
West Pleasant.
1,000,
Do we have
and West
89?
Pleasant Drive, and then there's 189.
So that's at 7.
So
We really need walking towards one.
the only thing I'd like to put on there is we're protected by the 357 Magnum. Each home has, have some code underneath there.
If you have any questions, contact me.
I don't even know what that is.
Big icon.
Do what's more generic. Aluminum.
Everybody's seen the Weaver County ones up in the valley, West Philly. They're very nice and very well done. I would like to
There's
see
about this
something.
much.
Why don't we gather pictures and let's
Let's
do this right.
I agree. Let's.
Let's not hide a police vehicle, let's just take the money.
Check it out, the signs.
So,
So not,
it's my understanding that you wanna,
We need to take seats.
you wanna hold off on the sound system, get a bid. You wanna do the same thing on the signs,
I think we get pictures like television
prices, and just get a little sound in here.
The only thing is that I don't think we can also change it. I think,
all of them.
I don't. It's-
Depends how much they are. Depends what we end up with for design. It's not
6,000.
They're really
Yes, that's
expensive.
gonna be 6,000.
Yeah.
But the question is, if it's one, right, then it's the next one $500.
Right, they've already done the dive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you've already come.
No.
You know, any scouting groups?
I think I
or-
have-
So I think we can put that off for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And have
I
it come
think-
back after we get some more information on that.
I sent
But
you that.
we're,
quick comment
we
about-
want to look at all of them.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just bring something in with prices and some designs. and-
If I come from the Heritage Committee perspective, I just think it should say Pleasant View, not Pleasant View City.
I'm with you,
Well,
that,
that's
yeah,
a good
plus a
particular
view.
resident that's very-
What did you say? I'm sorry, I missed it.
So from a Heritage Committee recommendation, signs are well, Pleasant View, not Pleasant View City.
However, you're incorporated as Pleasant View City. Did you know that in 1967?
What we city.
Right.
Nobody really else.
All right.
Okay, so we're gonna take out those two. What about,
And correct the
Fair.
CRO.
Fair. I don't, why would we take that? I mean, we need to get this done. And if we have, we have the budget,
oh, we put it in.
Well, we're gonna be on the two.
you know,
Which thing?
for the sound system.
Oh, the sound system.
I think we need to move forward with that, and if we have to just have it, I mean, I don't think we're gonna have it done, but I'd like to amend the budget, to have a placeholder for that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, because it doesn't get done, it just carries on.
Yeah, so I think we have it, and if we can get it,
We can do the same for the signs, I think, like,
I think it's.
is that a motion to be made?
Are you keeping the signs at 6 or are you changing
Well,
all
we have
7
to
of them?
public hearing. Make a motion to go to public hearing.
Let me ask, is there any members of the public that we should speak? Seeing none, I didn't hear that. Which I guess we can say my answer about public hearing and all, but yeah. Okay, discussion?
The only question I have is on the car, I mean, I make a motion, I think it's gonna make more sense, I I hate spending that much money, but I think it's probably good money spent for what we need. So I think the council, the majority, I think Sarah probably was a little bit, but I think we just do it then, right? Is that, so anyway, I make the motion that we approve resolution 324-K with the purchase of the car.
Second.
A motion by Gibson, second by Harrington, for the discussion.
And you did delete those two. Oh, keeping everything the same.
But to clarify, not for the CRO officer, but for an admin officer.
No, see, or this.
Well,
No,
this, however, please.
Okay, okay,
Administratively,
we'll work it out. Okay, I just didn't
She
know.
should have it, somebody put wherever it is, you want to run the truck, and let them out there. That'll
All right.
fill that position, so they can all have the car.
So this is a roll call.
So who
vote.
seconded? Sorry.
So,
Okay.
right.
So, like, with the ones that are on, like, the sound system and the sign, so you're gonna go. check to see. Well, no, I think this is a current ceiling.
So it's a placeholder.
It's a placeholder, we haven't vetted it. The expectation is to come back
Yes, it's a
highly vetted and.
placeholder.
We'll get some bids and, an idea of what we're gonna get for our money, and bring it back. All of those signs and the sound system.
Because Steve wants one sign for 6,000.
No, this is the placeholder. But I want the metal sign like the city
If
park.
it's 6,000, it's straight down.
So, and we've already discussed this, but future,
That's what the lady said.
we've already discussed this, because I don't think it's no business data.
Yes. Now, we're gonna have to have an entire work session on fleet.
I'll make a note.
Or- Okay, roll call. Harrington.
Yes.
Gibson.
Yes.
Marion. Yes. Nelson.
Yes.
Yuri. Okay, motion carries unanimous.
Well, there's other things in there. You can't choose it. There's always a whole-
Budget workshop. So excited.
I think so. No,
Okay. Okay, the budget should be on your counters and turn to page 38.
what page?
38, and that's where the budget message is at. Kind of some highlights. Just as the budget process, we have to tentatively adopt it tonight, but that is not the end of it. We'll hold some public hearings, some workshops, whatever, and we'll get down to the very end. June 30th is the last date that we can adopt it. If you could decide that you want to have a tax increase, then we'll adopt the tentative towards the end of, in June or something, and then we'll carry it on till we get to about August and adopt a final after public hearings.
June 25th is actually on our next. Yeah.
The last one.
So,
So here are some of the highlights. So under the general fund, under the revenues, the fund balance right now, or our rainy day fund is $1.3 million, which is 18.99%, or 19%. We can carry over 35%, so we are short. The maximum that we could hold if we kept the 35% is 2.4 million. So we are short $1.1 million of being to our goal or the highest of 35%.
Did that get raised this year? It's always been 35%.
35%. It was 28, but the last 3-4 years, it's been 35%.
But the percentage we're holding, that 18.99, is that down from what we've had?
Yes. When we was going through the budget process, we were clear down to 13%. So we kept doing different things, trying to get it back up. As we go through, we'll show you a few things that we've done. So that's about as,
We've been increasing. Percent.
no, we've had a higher amount.
We've been, I think last year, like 23.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
higher.
we've been-
Mhm.
Decreasing because of,
But when we first started this about a month ago, we were down to 13%. So we've done some few things to try to get it back up. And And when I did this, I put no proposed property taxes, but there is a proposed property tax in this budget. We won't get the numbers until second week of June or first week of June.
I'm
So we
sorry,
can
you say
really,
Proposed property tax.
There
not
is.
the Proposed, it says no proposed property tax increase, but you're saying.
oh, there is.
Yeah, that
Sorry.
no is an error. That's.
And there is a
probably carryover.
proposed
Oh,
in
I
there.
like the name better.
I know, there is, and that with the proposed number I put in there, that brought us up to the almost 19%.
Got it.
So that's kind of one of the things we had to do. Sales tax, we increased that just 5%. We have not seen any big jump with all of our businesses yet. Yeah, so it's just still kind of, we're waiting for
That
sales
will-
tax to come in.
And if it's sale,
Yeah.
next month, you know, that's gonna lag, about 6 months before we really start.
Seeing
See much of
something,
anything, yeah.
yeah.
Do we typically see a sales tax increase over year to year?
Yeah, it's kind of gone up.
But the mayor's just talked about this in detail. A lot of the cities share their data, a lot of the cities, and here's the difference. Let me make the answer to that, and I'll tell you the difference between that. Most of the cities were complaining, your Riverdales, your Roy, Ogden, North Ogden, were complaining that their sales tax is either flat or decreasing. Slight. And they asked about ours, and I says, well, ours is a slight increase. But the difference is we're bringing on more, I mean, they're slow. We're adding slowly, but we are adding. And I said, I believe ours will continue to grow. I'm hoping that it jumps dramatically. But as far as statewide, countywide, things are fairly flat.
I don't think because economy's down, or.
Yeah, that's what they.
There's that interest rate.
Are you talking revenue, sales tax revenue?
Yes.
So the rates, I think that should be, I think the decrease is that surplus 2 years. Come on, specific. Yeah, do we know what the city's yield on business sales tax? I've never really understood that process on what the city, let's say a big business came in, what our yield is versus what we share with the county versus what we share with the state.
The state is incredibly protective of that data, and the reason being is they don't want governmental agencies, especially because we have to be so transparent with our information, to be able to distinguish basically what businesses are making profit wise. And so it's kind of a muddled,
Will they disclose it? Is there a law? against this?
they will not disclose it.
If they won't, if they change it, so if the cities are going down, is it possible that they could change it? Like,
The rates have to be, the sharing of the revenue.
He's talking about,
It doesn't have to be.
for every dollar that's collected, I think 50 cents goes,
That's.
Oh, the breakdown, oh, yeah, that's public information,
rate.
sorry.
isn't it 50
Population.
Mhm.
Point of sale.
Yeah, we can get you all that information, that's absolutely.
But
public.
not business specific.
Exactly, we just can't.
So
show
for every
you
dollar
revenue
of sales
sources.
tax revenue is collected in a Pleasant View business, 50 cents goes to the housing city, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And then 50 cents goes to a pool that's distributed based on population.
I thought it was 730, it's 50.
I don't.
I think it's 50.
When John.
I can look it up right now.
He explained it second, third. Again, it was another one, maybe it wasn't him, it was somebody in me. So.
But if you have it, that would be awesome.
Yep, I'll get that and send it out.
I don't want to do.
No, you're just fine. Sorry, I didn't understand.
I tried to, I'm pretty good, could not find anything about it, so that's why
It's a well-guarded secret, it really is.
I'll get the information out.
I've never seen that, and I've been here almost 12 years, and I've asked that exact same question. How much does that business impact? And nobody can tell me that number.
But for an individual business, you can't. That's what I'm saying.
But,
is
well, but it's, you know, how much,
They,
I mean, they just lump it into a poll.
Exactly.
That's the only thing that I've ever seen is a poll. And hopefully by bringing in brush, bringing in all these different things, our share goes up. We never see that.
Yeah,
We don't know whether it's pooled amount or whether it's sales tax.
what I know citizens would like to see is, let's say we've got this 2,700 development, let's say it increases $25 million in spending in a year comes to the city. Of that, X% is sales tax, of that, X% will go to the city, and so it's just kind of like.
I've asked, I've never seen that, and if Amy can get it, then I have to ask the wrong person.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well,
It's just a
'cause
formula.
we had.
Yeah, it's a formula. I can get you the
So
formula.
Parkland, you know, we had a bunch of stuff in there. Well, man, it's gonna do some stuff. What is sales tax? What generates that sales tax?
Yeah,
You know, it's big Walmart, of course,
Mm,
grocery store.
that's big.
grocery stores, no, because they're
They're
taxed
talking,
on food.
they're talking about getting rid of that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, you'd think that just be a huge bump, your revenue.
Yeah.
But never seen that.
I will email that to you guys this week. I don't
Awesome.
have it offhand, but
It will be.
on the tax commission.
Hopefully, huge problem, just. And again, that's what my explanation to the other mayors, we're going from big boy to basically a Shell station. To, Jimmy John's, the guy online. Yeah, I've got the town, Portland, the brothers.
For brothers.
Rush. The bird, the Frosty Tacos, Sweet Keys. It's all this.
Her brother's son.
Anyway, we're growing and yes. You know, these cities that I named, but let's just take my thought, they're not twice as big as us. Population. They're not twice as big as us, no. I think they're about 22,000, almost 12,000. So, but if you look at their sales tax revenue versus our sales tax revenue. Not even close. 10 times. Yeah.
What, we're sales tax?
No, they're.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Even though they're not twice the size.
21,000.
They're about 22,000, so about just like 12,000. So they're not twice as big as us, but boy, they sure get a lot more subsidies. But bringing these other up, but they're even complaining that, yeah, we're kind of flat. We've got a couple of new businesses that are helping, and they're doing some stuff, going on the floor, and they're trying to bring in more businesses too.
What is the one? We're 3 million.
Working on it right now, so
Are they 6 million, or what would they be?
I think they're probably on paying on their facilities. Probably, but I don't.
That's fine.
Well, just for an FYI, in the budget year 2021, it was up 19% from the year before. In 21-22, it was up 15% from the year before. So last year was up 7% from the year before. So I've gone about 5%, and I don't know when things are going to hit or how long we'll be waiting. So we might be,
So 5%.
it might be flat. So
5% concern. Yes, we have been going slightly down. We're still
We're down.
rising, but not, it's kind of flat out.
yeah, so
Okay.
and building
But we'll
permits are
get
down.
that exactly. We'll get that.
Yeah, happy to get that.
Yeah, and then building permits, residential's down, so I'm only guessing about 10 building permits next year and maybe 30, 40 that we've done years before. So it's way down. We don't issue very many of them. And then we,
hopefully the interest rates get better. And we have inventory of lots, basically in the city that have been approved that people could start building them. They're not doing it. Until interest rates come down, probably, I would say at 4%. You're gonna be like, to see a lot of it.
yeah,
Do we have an estimate? I know we talked at one point about how many homes we thought was gonna be built in the year. We know. We estimated how many homes we thought would be built next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and something else.
Yeah.
Down from the 40 or 50.
Sorry.
yeah.
Oh, you're fine.
And we do have that ARPA money still in there, but that is a wash what comes in what we're spending. The school resource officer, it was like 59,000 last year. It's 72,000 per that contract this year. Back in 2020, back in 2005 and 2007, the general fund actually transferred some money to the RDA so it could be set up. We're actually taking that money that we loaned them and bringing it back to the general fund, which was 387,000. So that has helped a little bit. And those are the main revenue portions of the general fund. And the bigger expenditures in the general fund, it's a road for the cemetery. It's about $305,000 to finish up that project. We've included 45,000 for a website update. And we talked about the judge's salary, which we did have to increase that almost 7,000 this year on that base rate. And we took the base rate actually. The prosecutor's contract based on it was 20,000. The insurance, we're still working on getting those numbers back, but we've inflated them just a little bit, but not much. So they're about the same as last year. Property, auto, liability insurance for us here. And then we are transferring just the normal, the $500,000 to the equipment fund, 200,000 to roads, 100,000 to the city hall capital plan. And we also did another 62,500 for a possible future cert demolition.
I'm gonna have some conversation about that transfer. So we're, I believe it was last year, maybe it was 2 years ago, but I'm pretty sure it was last year. We opted to put 200,000 in road funds.
Last year.
We typically done 100,000. At the time, I said this was going to be a one-time thing. However, you know, we put it in there because our roads, they need it. I mean, there's just no denying our roads really needs some extra funding. Which is I wanted it to be a one-time thing. So the question I have is, you know, going forward, is because we're funding capital, city hall capital plan for future expansion at $100,000. It's my belief that when that ever happens, we're not going to pay cash for it. Probably going to have to bond. Unless we wait 15 years, then we drop the bucket. 15 years is 1.5 billion expansion. So somewhere down the road, we're going to have to. So I'm just saying, there was two considerations. Go through the budget, think about $100,000 put in this capital plan. My goal last year was to do away with that and use it in the road plan. And now we have to come to the road plan and the capital plan, both. And just keep that in your mind. Some areas we are further. Okay.
Yeah, and and then in the CIP budgets, I put a little, maybe just a quick list on your desk. And it looks like, if I can find mine, or maybe that's faster to go through. Yeah. And so those are just some of the projects for next year, out of the water, sewer, storm sewer. So I just kind of hurried and just fast listed those. So we didn't have to sit there and turn pages. So I don't know if we want to go through that right now, or we want to go through maybe the personnel stuff. And then go back to capital. No, there's cost to them, but I just took, here's the project, and then we can go through page by page, but those are just a fast summary of what's happening now.
Most of these funds are in pretty good shape, except for
yeah, water will have to bond. Storm sewer, well, let's go through them separately, because some of them are impact monies too that we're running out. Let's just go hurry and hit the personnel, and then we'll go back to the capital facilities plans. So on the personnel,
let's hit fees.
Fees, yeah. The base rate for water, it has been $21, and that's been for, I put it in my other notes, we'll get to that. But we raised the base rate $3.50 up to $24.50. And that's only gonna get us another $100,000 a year. Because it's kind of going in the hole too, and we're still gonna bond next year too. For those, the well up here. So, the tank, yeah. So that's in there, and we also have in the water fund to maybe do a water study, just to see our tiers and different things to see if those need to be adjusted. Then on the sorry. And on the pay plan, we did the market study and the average increase is a 2.26%. And the pay ranges are attached to this budget. And with the market study, it's going to be about 58,000 in the market adjustments, and the performance adjustments will be about 45,000. Health insurance, we actually did a change on that. We changed plans from, they're both health insurance and dental is with PHP. One of them we had Advantage and Summit option 3, which had a 750. Where's my notes?
500 individual, 750 family. 750.
It was, yeah, the deductible was 750 and 1,500 for family, and we changed the deductible to 1,000 and 2,000 for family. Out of pocket, originally it was the 5,000 and 10,000, and now it's going to be 6,000 and 12,000, and the co-pays went up $5. Yeah.
But what did you put the amount that saved the city?
Do you know what I did on the cities, and this is per person or per unit, let's just say. So if we kept the same plan, the city would pay it $513 extra a year for a person, for a single person. If we went to the new plan, the city's paying about $300 for a year increase. But the employee for like a single person, if we stayed with the same plan, they would only pay $27 extra for a whole year. If we switch to the new plan with the different deductibles, they'll be paying about $265 to $500 extra a year. So we've done a switch there, city saving some, the employees having to pick up a little bit more. So that's what is in here. We've changed the dental plan. It was the premium, and it's down to the traditional. And should have tapped it. You remember the top, the dental really fast.
On the amounts. Sorry.
The difference between the dental, I can't remember.
I
We
think
switched the plans. It was just the cost.
it's a deductible.
The deductible was a little bit different.
Right.
If you can-
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
It's saving.
So with that, it saved about 18,000 on health insurance. And about 3,000 on the dental for the city.
So we changed insurance and
No,
it's
that's-
and it's still better than most.
Yeah, I think that's more so. Our family anyway is out of like 3,500 for individual, 6,000 for family.
Is it the difference for the-
Say it's 21,000.
That was the premium. Oh, and here's the traditional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the premium one, we had an annual benefit of 2,000 per person, and now it's down to 1,500 per person. So there's like some different changes there.
And really a tough kind of cut to make, but we wanted to retain the same provider pool for the employees. And as much as possible, address the increase in the total amount without overly squeezing, so it's tricky stuff.
We got a 35%.
And then still, we're just keeping the same for the long-term disability. It's still a 0.005%. And it still includes the life insurance and the accidental death and dismemberment insurance. It still includes the EAP for $3,000. And then this is one thing that you guys want to think about. Last year, we did a 401k match with the employees, a 1.5%. I don't know if you want to still consider that, but that is included in here. And that was a $43,000
You said it's what, 1.5% is all?
a matching, and if every employee did it, it would be about 43,000 to the city. So that's something to think about, but that one is included in the budget. And then there's some other things with the Utah retirement system. The people that are in the tier 2 public employee hybrid system, the state is making them pay an extra 0.0 or 0.7%. The city cannot pick it up. In the past, if you're in a tier 2 in the public safety, there was an option where the city could pick up that extra amount that the employee would have to pay. So the city has in the past picked up 2.59% of it, but their portion now has gone up from 2.59 to 4.73. So in this one, I did not include that the city's going to pick up anything additional, but we still have to keep the 2.59%. So with that being said, if
That's not a year-to-year election.
we have to elect it,
Yeah, it's a permanent election. If we made the determination for the city to cover that.
then it's permanent. So right now that 2.59 is permanent. We have to make another pickup election this year. I did not put it in, so that's up to you guys, but that's a $6,000. It's $6,000. And the other employees, it's a cost of them about $6,000 to pick the people that are in there.
But they've said that we cannot pick up the other. I've heard some creative things that the cities or some of the other cities are doing to pick it up alternatively for those employees, but it gets messy real quick.
Yeah, and I heard that they're not supposed to give them any kind of
Yes.
benefit to
Yes, that's
make
correct.
the difference up.
No, no.
No.
Yeah.
Let's see, our full-time equivalency is 40.07 for this coming year. And we do have a couple staff changes. In Public Works, adding a Blue Stake Tech. Most of it is coming out of the enterprise funds of $80,000. And then some temporary scanning help for about 48 hours, about $600. So that's kind of the overall on the budget. I don't know if we want to go.
And then do you want me to speak to the option? The chief and police are recommending and requesting a detective position to backfill some of their caseload. And so that's not included in this proposal, but it's something we could look at and evaluate, including the anticipated costs. And this is a little bit rough, but it's about 200,000.
Something else I'd like to put on the proposed is just a ramp match, just as a kind of a placeholder, like whenever we do those ramp grants, we should have a matching funds.
Hey, let's just start going through the capital facilities things. How's that? Then you can kind of see. So let's actually start with the parks.
Yeah,
What was the detective / what?
just detective,
And you said how much?
200,000. That includes salary, benefits, vehicle, and then also URS retirement. No, this would be a new vehicle.
Oh, so this is in the parks fund. It's page 15. No, I have it written down. So if you look on the bottom line, at the end of this year, there's like $247,000. End of next year, 110. The next year, we're in the whole 24,000. So then we'll look at above and just see what's included. So in this fund, it's funded by park impact fees, but commercial does not pay park impact fees. It's only residential, and we're only getting 10 a year. So you're looking like $11,000 is all that's coming in. We do page 15. Oh, the very top. This is what's funding this fund is the impact fees. We get a population ramp for about 11,000 every year. And down below, that's what we're using for movies in the park, the food trucks, recreation supplies, certain things like that. Anything that can go for a ramp, qualifying expenditures. And then we put in there those easy grants for 2,000, maybe possibly 3 of them every year, and then expenditures offset below for 2,000, three of them. And in there, we have the ramp grant that we're doing for the pickleball and for the parking lot, and donations that we are anticipating to come in. And then below, we have the matching expenditures. And then as far as other expenditures besides the pickleball court, my eyesight's getting worse. There's still the off-site cameras that we're going to be doing in the park. This year is 30,000. Next year we have some wooden tables for 4,000. This year that is done, the resurfacing.
So 2023, oh, that is the year.
Yeah, so after we do all these projects, I don't know if you just want to peruse down through them, you can kind of, there's not many of them, but I don't know how we fund extra money, or if we take more money from the general fund and we transfer money over into it. But it's a property tax increase possibly to get us to balance. So I don't know. So that's where the park's at. The next one, if you turn to page, we'll do the roads, page 23.
So I'm just need to try to understand this doesn't balance.
Huh?
It does in the proposed, but this is showing the long term and that we will have deficits.
It's current, that we just looked at, so.
Yeah, well, let's just go to page 17. That's the next one. So here's your storm sewer. If you look down at the very bottom, you can see the ending fund balances. So the end of this year, 2.4 million. Next year, 660,000. And then the very end, you have 47,000 at the end of 5 years. But look below that, and then it's broken out between impact fees and just operating money. So where you see the red $9,000 in the hole, that means the city is going to have to pay 9,000 of the impact fees, the money. It's with the projects that we have, the impact projects are using up the money. And the bottom line, we have like 600,000 probably every year for just operating the storm sewer.
And yeah, to clarify, we're not gonna ever operate in the hole. This is just showing an example of the deficits we're gonna need to fill to meet all of these projects. Exactly. We would never operate in the hole.
No, the projected costs.
Mhm.
We don't have enough, we don't change it.
Yeah, so this is funded by impact fees also. So these businesses that are coming in, they're paying the storm sewer. So as it comes in, we have 5 years to spend it, or maybe we'll have to give it back, but we do have projects here to use that up. So on those projects for next year, it's a capital facilities plan update. And we do have that decant expenditure in there. Pleasant View City's portion of it is 470, and then actually the ARPA money is going to pick up about almost $700,000 of it. And that's in the general fund portion of it.
Does that reflect here? So I'm trying to figure out how so the expenditures are obviously outpacing the revenue funding we currently have planned, which
Yeah.
is why we're going from 2.4 million down to 47,000 in 5 years.
And if you see the little stars off to the side, onto the left, those are impact eligible projects. And that's so the revenue that's coming in on impact, we're going to use it for these projects.
So those are small numbers compared to the, I guess, the
So
400 West Storm.
yeah, 400 is a big one. And then there's another 400, but it's our portion of it and not the impact fees portion of it.
But we don't think that's ever actually going to happen.
No, unless we change
The
them.
railroad.
No, we're under permitting with that one. City's dealing with 3 different service projects. This one. State.
Okay.
So I think we turned in the design once. We wait for information back from them. We had to get some technical information out. before we can submit the bid.
Got it. For us to change, what does it take to change the fees, from what fees for us to do that? Yeah, it's not a-
Understanding. Facilities. So it's better than small.
Anytime you
Yeah.
change your accessibility, that's.
That would necessarily go up, either it's more projects to build and take care of. But just identify new projects that we need. It's a tricky.
Okay, page 19. This is the equipment fund. And the only way that this one gets funded is a transfer from the general fund. And we do average about half a million every year on all these on all these expenditures. The first portion of it is the police department on what they've requested. So you have some computers and laptops and a copier in there if they need it this year. We just keep pushing that one forward. And in there, we did budget 59,000 for the purchase of the vehicle out of this year. But next year, you can see that there is the end of the 10-year, 10 vehicles leases. And the end of, and the beginning of probably a 2 vehicle lease, or you guys have to decide purchase. But they're just in their placeholders for right now. And then below you have what the cost of the equipment for each one of those vehicles. And then they have a radar, their handheld radios, the encryption, flash drive upgrades, firearm program, their Glock guns, bulletproof vests, and rifle optics. And that's what they budget out of the equipment fund this year.
On the encryption, you get that county is dispatch everything from encryption. Every vehicle, yeah. Every
Yeah, and the next page on page 20 would be more of the streets and shops requests. So next year, they're still doing some shop updates for 15,000. A fuel tank for the diesel for 95,000. We have some vehicles in there.
Fuel tanker, that's not.
Yeah, we only have the 1,000-gallon diesel, that's essentially one fill up on your plow. So if you have any issues, that's not including your generators or any of your. All off once in your whole thing instead, so. That's a big type of emergency that you were trying. Some generators running as well. But obviously,
What's the 95 baseline?
we could only, bear let us know, we got quotes for the tank, but not really into, the site details, so the tank by itself is almost, it's almost 60,000, that's assuming. Needing to do some site bids, no, so I was just buying, order of the tank and it delivered to you, site, not change it over your system.
So when you look at any balance on page 21, for all the equipment, it doesn't look like that one's falling as quickly. It's still falling, but like, just pretty curious. Why that trend's not so, like that one doesn't go into the red, there's a,
Uh-huh.
Expenditures aren't outpacing the
the
funding.
funding.
That's what a lot of these seem like they can move, never make it. Well, that's a lot of capital project.
And that page 21 is the general office. So you got laptops and computers in there. The server room, a cooling system down there for 15,000. A copier, if it's still good, we'll keep it. A scanner for 1,000. Then you have some natural scape for about 50,000. Replace the marquee when needed, maybe about 30,000. Some of these are just placeholders, just in case something does go wrong. Soundproofing some rooms, furnace replacement, doing that over 3 years, so 16,000. Updating the fire alarm system here. Separating a room downstairs, the museum for 15,000. And some signage.
How are you planning on doing that? Metroscape, just like that. Non-use saw items park.
It's just continuing the conservation effort. We turned the original one got converted into out front. So the original conservation plan was going after these snowman items. That's one park strip around this office.
That's $50,000.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sure. Once they put out the incentives, most of the landscape pricings just went up with it. So the state put out incentives, landscapers increased their price.
I like grass. We clean water, roll down on them.
I think you could do a lesser amount. It's just how far you want to take your conservation. So 50, that might have ended up being these two bigger ones, so your park stripped down. There's the little island around the filter. To define some of those.
Is there a conservation plan? Yeah.
There's goals.
That's on one.
I just thinking we might have greater needs.
Yes, I don't think, I personally like grass and.
Red grass, we gotta.
Yeah, the grass. I don't, it's that area or anything.
Yeah, one thing that I think you need to look at creating a savings fund for the vault, you have the vault over. Does that old city office, so that's something to be standing for.
Haven't we already started talking about that?
Not from a budgetary standpoint, but I think just from a planning standpoint, trying to work through possible options.
Well, I agree with that, but I just wanted to spend it.
You put it over the old strip building, no one will in there. Yes, that's.
No, it's the heritage foundation.
All right. Next.
Let's go to page 23 through 26 is the streets. So page 23 is the Class C Roads Fund. It is in the it's sitting in the general fund right now, but I just split it off so you can kind of see here. Tyson has a list of projects, but for next year, there's the 400,000 in this fund to do his road annual projects, and 200,000 that was transferred into the road fund on page 26. So he has 600,000 there to do some road projects. And then the other portions of vehicles for next year out of the Class C. The next one is the sales tax transportation funds that we get. This comes page 24. This comes from the state sales tax. We're getting maybe 250,000 every year on that. He has the street trip hazard program for 20. To continue the street light program, replacing all these street lights for 180,000, miscellaneous concrete, and to do the right of way on Alberta Drive for 230,000 out of that fund. And then if you turn. Tyson.
That's what the, that we get that weight of funding and
Yeah. We're applying for a grant to start acquiring the land.
Widen up further. I would,
So the first
on
thing
the
is.
west side, the car is on the south side?
What's, where?
Yes, outside.
From city line to.
So we've actually only put in a letter of intent to apply for the grant, so I don't know for sure yet.
6th or something.
July 7th.
Not hurry up too much.
I've got a minute.
What's the chance of giving that?
Actually, pretty good.
It's pretty good records.
So that is to,
That's just strictly to acquire land,
By the way, not doing it.
property acquisition. That's why it's pretty.
Can't they just donate it?
They could, we'll certainly ask.
We've tried that with our property acquisition agents before. It wasn't super successful, but sure.
We're gonna, oh, we could do that. That's
Hey,
great.
and I apologize, that, are we gonna go parks again, or where the path?
It's in Tyson, but.
No, pathway, the chip seal, or, there's so many cracks in that thing. Can we have any, so we can, like for, well, Pleasant Drive,
Yeah,
what is it? It's not chip seal, it's the
crack seal.
crack seal.
Isn't that in your
Chip
bus?
seals your entire.
You know, with the crack seal been on the path, I'd like to use some of that 50,000 for the zero escape. Over to be able to do that, when I walk that, it needs to be, we need to see those cracks for that, everybody goes away. Was that, we already passed that, or that somewhere?
So no, so we moved some of it into just the general maintenance.
So let's make sure that's included in the final.
I'd like to have some money in there, I don't know how, I mean, I don't know how much that is, or what that would be. We have the machines still, correct? They would be the other way. But I'd like to see that, we did that once, it needs to be done again very badly to update that path. So. I know we passed the parks, but what's that falling there?
So I don't know that it needs to be parsed. I think that
It is
is
not.
not.
Could that mean the road fund, or what is that? What was that?
Then we've always had it in parks. But yes, I don't know if you talk about it as it's also listed in our active transfer.
So if we can have it in the road or somewhere, I want to have some car or buckets, or whatever, enough to update that.
Yeah.
Wherever that fits,
We'll find a place and add it.
I'd really spend it on that and zero escape.
So on page 26, this is our road fund, and this is being funded by that new transportation impact fee. And you can see I put 11,000 in for next year. But I was anticipating a building permit that we just issued that we're not going to get, so we can drop that back down to 3,400. Because most of them are going to be residential or kind of unknown right now.
So that's all we're getting from that?
Yeah, well, we're not getting building permits though next year either. I've guessed 10, and they're like 300 per
Yeah.
residential.
Not enough.
And depending on the type of commercial that comes in, or if it's industrial, it could be 7,000. That's what I was kind of counting on. But that one didn't pan out. So,
It's just a guess. And that-
yeah,
it wasn't there before, and now it's there, but.
Seems like such a little bit for all this price of it.
and the other,
Long term, it won't be.
Okay.
and the other revenue that's coming into this is that tough. Your utility fees that you pay every month, all the residents. So about 180,000 next year. And that's also being funded by WACOG money for Skyline. And we also got a Safe Routes to School board that we'll be using for 1100 West sidewalks from 3925 North to 4000 North. But the
We have to
road,
match that. We have to match, how much we match for that? So,
I can't remember.
What's the 70,000 to update top fees get studied?
Okay.
Did not.
No, I guess there's another.
No, this
update.
is different. this is the utility fee. So we just did this is, Steve, do not. Okay, the transportation utility fee is a general fee throughout the city. The other is an impact fee for just new
We're gonna
development.
spend $70,000, how much do we collect on?
180 a year,
$180?
180,000, sorry, 180,000.
70,000 for a study?
And I don't know if the study will take that much money, but the state is starting to put in place some requirements with those. There was, a city that was actually sued. They actually were successful in the lawsuit regarding it. And the city, yes.
What is that study gonna give us?
$70,000.
I know, but what is it gonna give us?
So how much did you say a year? Larry?
180,000.
180,000 a
We're
year,
Already collecting. Yeah.
but it's to enable to continue applying the fix.
So part of it is a mapping system that you already bought with their original top. The only reason that you keep your top is because you did that study originally. They mapped it out to create that fee to do it the legal process. That system's antiquated, it wasn't being updated, it was essentially a street mapped out maintenance plan. And then it broke out your 40.
All right, well, let's put it in as a placeholder and we'll have some more discussion about it.
Yeah, so pretty much this one's gonna take care of those projects. Skyline Drive, there's that $200,000 in here from general fund for additional road projects. And that's the road fund in a nutshell. Okay, the next one, we're gonna turn to page 28, and it's the water fund. So this is the one that already includes the base rate going from $21 up to $24.50. And if you look at the very bottom of this, and it also includes the Zone 1 project bonding for it for $4 million. So even if that's taking care of that project, the bottom line in 5 years, you're down to only $500,000 in that fund, which is not a good place to be for a water fund.
You have the bonding occurring in what?
Next year,
Next year.
up at the top for 4 million. And the expenditures are below in 2 separate years. So that's a wash, but then you have all these other projects that are coming up. For next year on the projects, there are a portion of the vehicles again, but you have a water rate study for 10,000. And then that Zone 1 that we talked about, 500 West.
Can we get our own study where we go out and say, what's everybody in the county paying for water?
So every water system is so different, but that's why that doesn't work. I don't know how to explain it more than every water system is completely different. There's cities just north of us that have one well that produces more water than we do, so they can charge a lower base rate. Our wells are considered great wells, so your system costs a higher cost.
Some cities have water treatment facilities. I mean, there's just a lot of
That's
different.
what's hard. You'll get that comparison regularly, but that's the hard part. Water systems, they're all pretty different. No water system's the same unless you're just running everything through a treatment center repair, basically. But even that, your topography can change the cost of your water system.
So our system, the majority of our system will be 40 years old, 50 years old, or more. I mean, where is the majority of our system? So 60 years old, so you know, 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, I mean, that could be a huge amount of money. And I know Ogden City, I mean, you know, that might be 100 years, let's say it's 5 years. But, I mean, are we looking forward to that?
Well, they did 3 rate studies to increase their rates because they had failing infrastructure and they actually had wooden pipes that were just dissolving.
That's tasting water. But what are we paying for that? Is something we need to, and that can't, that is a necessity.
Right, right.
Fiber optic is not, water is.
Well, and really, and you're not gonna like to hear this, Councilmember, but $10,000 for a study and maybe, you know, that's high. Larry said she's got some Excel spreadsheets that we can maybe work from, but at the very least, just making sure we've got something in place to.
But don't, I mean, without even doing a $10,000 study, we should know, we have to replace a water line down the street or something.
Right, but the study gives you that long-term look as to how your rates should be calculated to make sure you're capturing inflation and you're capturing.
Impact fees such too, or is that just to set our water rate?
I was thinking, sure.
Well, and so some of it is trying to incorporate inflation in every year cost or operating. Like, you need to pay for food stakers, you need to have the proper staffing. So part of that is cover all of that. There are supposed to be higher tiers for, I guess, the gross users, so there isn't one.
Well, it was.
Anytime you want to be able to assess, you have the state law, also has a study to assess that fee. And if you want, especially when
I'm talking about the $500,000 next year, and the other $500,000 in 2 years, and then 800,000 in 3 years. You know, I've asked this question multiple times, and is that, are we gonna bond just for the new well, or are we gonna create a bond to some of these other big projects?
Well, yeah, so is bonding the de facto, funding? I don't know. I
There's no other
mean,
source.
consumption tax, we can increase our sales tax as a city by 0.55%. What, you can do up to 2.99 the local taxes, the county's taking up 2.45 of that or whatever. So we can do a sales tax, I mean, it's gonna take time, but that's what I'm wondering. Bonding makes a lot of sense, and I just don't know if it's always the de facto funding.
Well, the sad thing is, we have three projects that require some roads, we have water.
really, well, we catch up. Roads and water.
And since we're talking water, it's an enterprise fund. You know, basically, we adjust the rates to pay. So my question is, you know, based on the projects out there, she's gonna show that we have 467,000. So I'm saying, should we be bonding for more to do those other projects with the bond money and adjusting our rates sooner than later to spread it out time as necessary instead of.
You're talking about separate bonds for separate projects, or one single bond for one single amount that falls into this. But it would all be funded through an increase in the rate or water.
Yeah, because it's the enterprise fund. Are you saying increase the rate earlier? Is that what I'm saying? Increase the bond amount.
Yeah.
Instead of just.
See, if you look 2/3 of the way down on the page, there you got the $2.85 million. And but in the next year, you get another project for another $500,000. And 2 years out of that, after that, another project for $500,000. Then a year after that, $800,000. None of that.
Well.
I'm not saying should we go 5 million, 6 million.
And it doesn't even address the fact that we pushed some of those projects down as far as we can, and we keep them in our time. So it's kind of getting them to think that we have to, especially water too.
And I realize we can't accomplish that all in a year. But we get the bond, start. With engineering and some stuff. Do this back to back as we do it, instead of did this year, 2 years.
I think we put a study in there. Just to see what's best.
Well, and we actually could study that on our own and say, okay, if we do a $4 million bond, this is what you're in now, it's $6 million, this is the bond. Versus, what I'm saying is 6 million spread out over that same period of time versus 4 million plus then 5 million or 500,000 plus another 500,000, plus 800,000.
But those are just projects, and that's what alarms me is because we have, those are projects, those aren't infrastructure things that we are eventually going to have to cover. I don't know when that's gonna be, do we last another 20 years or what we've got? Just keep patching pipes? Do we, I mean, I don't know what
You're
our,
talking the 500,000 next year, 2 years, I think next year, it's like. Hey, you got, $500,000 service transfers and abandonments and going west from the city limits. That's replacing infrastructure. Then 2 years after that, another 500,000, which is water line replacement upsize to 8 inch.
but those are just little teeny sections. Those are not.
500 to 3, but it's still $500,000.
Yeah, no, it's horrible. But I don't know how because those are just little sections. Because you gotta dig down, you gotta replace the road and all that stuff.
How long does it take to catch up?
I don't know, that's what I don't, it just seems daunting, and I don't know how. Maybe I'll be dead, but,
Keep outlining those that are needed.
Those are where your maintenance goes. Anything that isn't the contracted zone 1 tank, that's where we go either for the dirtiest water or most springs. That's how. So it doesn't mean that there aren't breaks, there are flushing issues in other areas. It just means this one's crossed the level that doing maintenance is cost effective. It's not cost effective, but put more clamps on that little section of Alberta's water main
And that's,
dirty
we can
water.
project this out 10 more years. And that's the same thing. I don't have the answer. I'm just saying, should we be looking at it next year? We're going to bond for $4 million, we bond for more than $4 million. And start replacing that.
but there again, I think you have to look at, what are the costs, and the information presented to us, because. If.
But I don't want to make large gather all the information you guys.
No, I think that's smart, because I mean, you don't want to bond 7 times, you want to bond once. So that doesn't make sense, and so, because that's gonna be what, 30-year bond, what would we be looking at?
It would depend on the bond rating and all of the, I mean,
So
there's,
we're 20
it
years.
could be 15 to 30 years
Yeah,
typically.
20 to 30 years, and that's one bond of, and then we have another couple that we could possibly do it. I mean, it's gonna, for our 10,000 residents, that's a big chunk. Really. So I don't know, so I agree, Mayor, I think we can look at that as one project over the 5 years and then bond for that.
I think we ought to look at it.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great suggestion. I like it. I think it's good. It just makes sense. I mean, you can't be 4.2, but then have another million or 2 million in the next couple of years. That way, still.
By the end of 5 years, we're done.
But we're still, even if we do that, we're still not our fund balance won't be that much. But if we take that out, we would bond for a bigger amount. We will still be able to under $1 million.
Overall, it would be, it shouldn't be.
Or 2 million.
Spread it out over time. I don't think it increase that size.
But we're still way under really what we should have in our enterprise fund for a rainy day.
We need to restructure our water.
Rates. Yeah, it's a tight, this is a tight budget. There's a lot of.
Okay, next slide.
Okay. Page 30.
Great, I'm hogging the mic, sorry.
Oh, no, I thought maybe,
Oh.
I just going back further. Sewer fund, bottom line, 2 million, end of 5 years, you still have about 2 million sitting there. We don't have very many big projects out of this fund. Just extend a sewer line for some septic system users of 200,000, and then some vehicles. And then you got some liner for some trunk lines. So That one's kind of a healthier one. It's not as scary. Solid waste.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Now we're on
31.
31.
Sewer capital. Please, apologize.
Solid waste. Bottom line, you really don't need a big balance here. We're not proposing any kind of increases here. We're still kind of watching how everything's working with our new hauler and the disposal and everything of the garbage. So those numbers may fluctuate here in this next month, but still the ending balance for next year is 82,000 is a guess. So we're still have some playroom there to still work on this, get a little bit more refined.
Does this include our new plan for replacement and stuff?
Yeah, so I was gonna,
Haven't revised that yet, but
I was gonna jump in quickly on that. So we have been working with the provider to adjust just with the way that we do the cans. So right now we've been managing those on site. It's a huge kind of add-on for Public Works to be able to manage as there's any type of damage to those and that. And so we're looking at adjusting the contract and a replacement maximum. I think we're looking at maybe 400 cans a year. If we need to adjust that, we can look at that just based on the wear and tear. A lot of our cans, especially the recycling ones, are aging. And so just basically plastic out in the sun for so long, it begins to decompress and break down. And so with that, we are looking at that change. And then there is with our contract with our waste provider, a CPI adjustment. So they'll be getting that to us as well. That'll go into the fee side of it, just as a heads up. And then I'm gonna skip over, I know I have this for other business, but just really quickly, I was able to get Heather to pull the garbage and recycling collection data. I know that Councilmember Gibson had asked this question. So in looking at the amounts, since we began to go to the Wasatch Integrated Waste, we pay approximately $1,500 a month for that, and that was the same amount that we were paying to Recycled Earth. There is a little bit of a higher rate just with regards to what we're paying, and it's not broken down explicitly, having Republic as the hauler and with regards to gas, but ultimately they're really relatively similar. Probably a couple of hundred extra in gasoline per month. So
do we know, because I think I know the answer to this from asking. When recyclers might be back online.
I don't think they will be.
Yeah.
Not any time in the near future. There's some major challenges.
So the tipping fees, is that $1,500 is the only difference? Or how about?
So
say that again. So
the tipping fees are the same.
It's a little more, yeah.
There's tipping fees for Weaver County, and then we're taking our recycle to Davis County.
Yes, it's Wasatch Integrated Waste.
So the tipping fees, how much per ton is it at Weaver County versus?
So in Heather's email, she said right now we're paying approximately $1,500 a month to Wasatch Front, which is about the same amount we were paying to Recycled Earth. So she looked at 3 months data on both of these, and she said that there really wasn't any substantive difference with the tipping fees. The difference is in fuel, and it is a couple of hundred more a month.
I guess, I mean, that is not.
It's really not substantially different for what we're doing.
But what,
I think we need to take close attention to this.
so,
They can change it.
yeah, so our tipping fee for regular garbage is what? That's what, regular garbage versus recycle, because I think that was higher.
It is higher. So the
So-
total that we pay different
per
from
ton,
what,
just per ton. That's all.
sorry.
Break it down. a little more.
So it does range because of the tonnage, and it ranges from month to month. Obviously, in the holiday time, it actually goes up. So it's an average of 29,000 to 31,000 a month for Republic. And for Econowaste, it was between 19,000 and 26,000. But we knew that going into the contractual adjustments with that as well and adjusted the rates accordingly.
But I want to know, if we just took the garbage from blue cans to the regular Weaver County landfill, the tipping fee for regular garbage per ton, I mean, how many per ton?
So I could get the breakdown for you on that.
I would just like to know that, those two numbers.
That would be easy. How much per ton?
How much
Yeah.
per ton for regular garbage,
And
and how much per ton for recycling?
Yeah, I can get that right back to you.
Because if it's double, then I want to do away with recycling. If it's very close, then we'll keep it. Well, because I just, North Ogden is discontinuing, a lot of them are discontinuing, because recycling just goes to the dump anyway. We're paying a premium for it to dump it. Sort of, do all those different things. Just those two numbers.
Yeah, no, that's an easy number, but I did appreciate Heather pulling those numbers.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It's not the full, but yeah.
But I want to know if it's worth it to recycle.
Do we guys residents know?
No, not this point. I want to,
Well, we gotta know what it costs.
I want to know what it costs.
Well, that's.
Yeah.
what I
And
should
then,
know what it
so
costs.
if it's $50 a ton to dump it in Weaver and it's $120, and we put that out, and say, is it worth it for you to?
Yeah, I can easily get that figure to you, but I just wanted to give you the update on that. I did ask Heather to pull that, and that's what I got from it.
So anyways, garbage is kind of holding its own right now.
Sorry, hijacked her.
The next one is the RDA. On the projects, all I put down in there is continue, 32, next page. So the RDA next year, no property tax. It's now going into the general fund. So that amount is already in the general fund too. That gave us the 19%. So no money coming into the RDA. We're just going to be using up this funds. I budgeted for the Rulon White extension and the 2700 North project with Far West. Those are those projects in there. The next page.
And that's a pass-through, right? With
Yeah, well,
those
just
because they're WACOG funded.
WACOG's money with Far West.
So that's the road project that
Those would go like 1740. or
at Jimmy John's, it's gonna go, cut over and cross and then back to Horseshoe. 2750.
That's the new light is to go
Mhm.
wrap around behind.
Yep.
Is that a project we're gonna do next year though, or is that,
I think the weight funds are next year.
so we could do it next year, we don't have to do it more.
Be nice use of our active property acquisition.
That's part of why we did that. Well played.
Okay, next.
The next page is 33. These are just balances in the RDA. So you have like in housing, there's 1.3 million sitting there that we have to use for housing. There's still administrative balance of 45,000 and then 2.7 in infrastructure projects. So that is the RDA fund.
What are you gonna do with that? Is that for?
That's
infrastructure for housing?
Housing is restricted. It has to be,
Housing,
money is,
building,
so that's,
so do we give that to developers and send them to come in and do something?
there's, that one's pretty strict on, you can give it to that Olin Walker Foundation. I mean, there's some restrictions on it,
We'll
but
ask in our meeting.
Yeah.
I don't know how we spend that.
Which houses are.
mhm.
I mean, seriously, is that giving it to a developer as
Use
an
it as incentives.
incentive to?
If
do
it's
something? If-
Specific to housing and it has to go
but it
to
has to-
lower moderate
it has to
income
be
and.
within the.
No,
No.
And at some point, the
It
state
doesn't.
may require additional housing requirements as well, so there's.
But it doesn't have to be used in the.
we can give it to another city. We can partner with another city.
So why is that?
Because they really want us to use that money. for housing.
But if it's taken out of the RDA, why would it not be
We
used
will,
in there?
we will use it in our city. We'll figure out something.
That doesn't make sense to me. I don't use it anywhere, yet it's. You got to
State
let it
rules.
out of the RDA
You
area.
know, when I heard that, I'm like, huh? It does make it more flexible. You know, if somebody came in on 89, on 80 out by chart.
So that what it needs to, you just not know there's that, you know, that wasn't in the RDA.
All right, Okay.
That's next. Page 34.
Page what?
34. So this is the market study, and the ranges that we've come up with each position. So you can look through that one. The next page, I've just outlined our full-time equivalencies and what funds they're coming, or what departments they're coming out of for about the 40 FTEs. And then the next pages are just information. So you have property taxes from the different cities. You can kind of see where we sit currently with our property tax rate. The next page of 37 is impact fee balances. And this is what we have to spend on impact projects. If they're in the red, like the park, we've already spent the impact fees, the money in the water, we've spent it, and residents is paying for it, basically. And down in the set, and some of the ones you see in storm sewer, that's the amount of money that we need to spend for each of those 7 years. So that's just an FYI. If you get towards the back on page 41 and 42, that's our organization charts. You can kind of see where everybody lands and how that flows. And the last pages are our consolidated fee schedules. You may want to just look through those and see if some of them look low or out of place, or you think they were amiss, but we've updated those quite a bit this last year.
I think 36 is an interesting. This, I just make that message understand that we've got 7% in tax bill. Yeah. And they don't understand. If you're making $5,000 pay tax payment every year, the city is about 195.
But that's when we actually do it. We'll do it with our final fee. Yeah, we're not adopting anything. No.
It's all, yeah.
Yes.
You know, obviously, it's not that here.
Right.
You get online and you have this tax information. Go into your property.
Oh, yeah.
You're paying your payment to Lion Share for the school, and then you're counting on that. I mean, it's very interesting to see who's getting our money, and it's not obviously.
But we are anticipating proposing a rate increase.
I think we're proposing to keep our tax rate the same, which
Is an increase. And then with, again, the option with police requesting that detective position, which would be an additional, oh, sorry. Yeah.
So,
sorry, just for my clarification, when do we have to make the decision on freezing the rate versus when is that?
Probably the June
June
one.
25th.
So before the June budget,
The final budget.
So this is just a discussion, there, you don't have to make any.
No, we gotta approve the tentative budget, then we got from now.
To vet through it. And
We can have some budget workshops, we can do whatever.
but to further clarify, if there is a truth and taxation hearing, the budget will actually probably be adopted in August. And so even if what you'd adopt in June is a working budget, and then the actual increase would not go into effect until a hearing has occurred.
And we've played this game with property tax
Yeah.
the last couple of years.
we went the last 2 years, but before
Well,
that.
we held the rate.
not-
No, we've only done it once since I've been here. My first year here, 3 years ago.
A few years ago, we advertised the 70%, which again, this is problematic. I think if we wait as long as we can, to try to get the stuff from the county, maybe before we push out anything, we will know better exactly, you know, we're talking 3%, 5%, what, 19%, 20%. I mean, those are important things we need to know in order to make real serious decisions.
What is it from the county we're waiting on though? Or maybe it change the rate?
The certified tax
They
rate.
set their, yeah, certified tax rate every year.
Isn't it, well, was that, right, what's that, how's it calculated?
Oh, there's a spreadsheet as big as that.
So it ultimately gives us the same dollar amount in property taxes as we got last year with new growth.
So it's based on revenue.
And new growth. As which it's down.
But isn't that based on our budget though? I mean, the assessor makes our tax rate based on our budget.
No,
Isn't
It's property values and a bunch of other stuff.
Well,
Based
but
on
this-
what?
But that budget, I mean, those rates go up to whatever our budget is though. Isn't it? I mean,
no.
No,
if
We
we-
take
if we
their
said-
budget.
It's,
If
it's
we said-
last year's rate plus new growth is what they'll present and say, this is what you're allowed as your certain tax. And we put our budget in there,
Based on
and it'll
that,
say, okay, you have enough to pay for it, or.
I almost thought that rate was
And
what
you,
the
so
budget
you,
was.
and I'll tell you, we need the truth of
If we
taxation
need,
here.
if we need to raise it,
It's almost never less than what it was last year, so we'll get the same overall tax yield,
Yes.
but the rates should go down every year because property values go up.
Right, and it doesn't account for inflation, so it's a dollar amount,
like
and
we hold the rate.
And that's exactly. I wish the state legislature
Because we are in fact.
figure out something about it.
that's what's killer.
Because the staff of the city, a bedroom, a bedroom community, so if we show them, take for example, we're kind of slow, but a bedroom community really stuck.
Also, they put the burden on, that city takes the brunt of the tax increase because the state passes it on.
If you don't have all those other, if you look back at some taxes, it's just over $1 million. You got a $9 million budget.
Yeah.
I don't
You
know.
know,
This is
so
the
most
point.
of our money is not.
So then we have to have the money for the tax too. Yeah,
Well,
it's,
Yes.
Well, and when they say new growth, is it?
We'll know
literal
later if
growth
we can share that.
yes.
Literally. So as of January 1st, so they already know what the new growth is. So anything that's been built from January 1st
Based on permits.
won't be even in there until next year. So these places that are opening up, they're still valued back at raw land,
Yeah.
raw commercial land, but they're still, they don't show the buildings, they don't show. So it's very important to get these, it was great at Rush Tower.
Yeah.
Before the end of the year, so they wanted it for, and that's great, because then we get, the tax rate is in January 1st.
But we're trying to make up what total deficit is the amount of money we're trying to propose to tax increase to. What is the?
Do you have, an already has a total?
Yeah, how much will that tax increase bring us? And what is that?
Yeah.
And right now, it's an anticipation because we don't know how all those numbers will play out until just as, I mean, we can throw out numbers, but until we get the certified tax rate, we don't know for certainty.
No, yeah, I'm just wondering what's our goal, what's the delta that we're trying to.
Yeah,
make
yeah,
up?
no, that's,
You know, that really is up to you guys. I mean, you can go up to 35% and keep that. If that's what you guys want to do, or you want to keep 20%
the
or
lowest we can go is 8.
30 oh, okay.
what?
I think it's between 8.
5 to 35.
We also think it's everybody.
Yeah. I think that's smart. I'm just wondering, we got time to look at this.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if we look at consumption taxes increase. I don't know if we want to do that in businesses, but I don't know what we want to do with citizens. I don't know.
As long as it doesn't discourage businesses.
Right, no, I agree with that too.
That's the pretty. So how do we, in the arctic? Good question. And the big question for me is how do we get more money in the roads and how do we solve our road problem? Because that's really the biggest issue. I think.
The impact fee will help and the utility fee is important.
I mean, $600,000 is what we have for the roads this year. Right? That's with the extra $100,000.
That's like. That's the water main, that's what I got the budget.
Yeah, don't say that.
Oh, sorry.
So I like.
And that is one water main. 500,000.
Like, turn a little bit of time over to the chief to talk about his proposed, employee. The problem. It's a big problem.
Feel like I'm asking you to punch in the face. It's situation, we don't want to deal with. We've got one detective. And he's got 84 active cases. Checked with South Ogden, Riverdale. Weaver County, they give their detectives anywhere from 10 to 25 cases, depending, say 25 is the maximum caseload. So what it comes down to on this 84 cases right now, Stetson trying to help them a little bit, but we're working on felonies only. We've got first degree felony, sex abuses, we just had a kidnap coming this week. It's an aggravated felony kidnap where he held a girl hostage for a number of days and sexually abused her. Those cases take a lot of time. One case that's in jail right now waiting for arraignment or a prelim. There's one case we've worked since last October. So we've got 80-some cases sitting there. Most of them we've got, doesn't tell me what, a couple dozen felonies that we're.
Yeah, we probably got 12, 15 first or second degree felony cases that we're working.
So all the misdemeanor thefts, criminal mischief, disorderly conducts. We have one where someone walked through the rush center and just punched everybody in the face as they went. All these cases would come to the president's court, but we don't have time to work. There's a doctor in town who had a burglary last summer. We have some leads on it, but we can't get to it. So what we're doing right now is working felonies only. We've got a case of 70-something Class B and C misdemeanors that are sitting there waiting for attention. I can't pull anybody out of control. We've got 2 officers, 20 hours a day, for safety reasons. We've all been watching the news. For safety reasons as well as caseload. I did a presentation in the city last week. Amy and the mayor were there. We average a call every 55 minutes. We handle 26 calls a day. And we do 9,500 cases a year, 792 a month. Patrol is swamped. They're doing their thing. They're trying to keep each other safe and back. And every time one takes off, there's single coverage. When you talk single coverage, you're talking the problem with trailer park and station, the crashes of 2700 North, thefts, panel fights, all this. They've got a lot to do, and the guys hate it when they find out they're the only officer on that day. So when we moved Braxton out of patrol, all we did is shifted him to a backup day car. So he's doing code enforcement, animal services, and a backup day car. Tony and Stetson and I run when we can and help them on calls. We do the best we can, but I don't think it's fair to the public to say if you have a Class B or C misdemeanor, we won't tell them that. If they have a Class B or C misdemeanor, we don't have time to work. And there's a lot of those. So patrol is handled okay. If I pull one back from patrol, put it in investigations, then we're single coverage in patrol. Ron Van Beek was off with surgery last month. We ran way too many shifts, single coverage. And I went on call, the guy said the day I was busy. I went down the call, there's 3 North Ogden cars and 1 Pleasantview car and 1 parked. And that doesn't sit well with me. I don't like to ask for manpower, but the fact is 84 cases is way too many for one detective and Stetson trying to help. So I just still say we're fine, everything's good. I think everybody's fast in my time. But the reality of it is we're way short in investigating these.
Yeah, and then I asked the chief, this is a. Every one of the department heads, I tell them, your job is to tell us what you need, our job is to tell you what you afford. But there's ramifications to tell them what you afford, that we have to be willing to accept and understand. And one of them is the minor things are not going to get investigated. Somebody who breaks into your garage and steals your bikes, whatever. Probably not fine. We got leave right there.
We can't investigate those will come to our court and we'll get revenue. We work only the felonies and go to district court. So anything we can solve on cases we can't get to is revenue to our court.
So, and this is not a unique problem with Pleasantview. now, if you're up in your bigger cities, you're going to find out that it's pretty tough. I mean, they're having troubles even meeting their day-to-day commerce. You know, I mean, I listen to dispatch quite often. Quite frankly, there's cities that are like, yeah, well, this town will get to it when we can. Probably 4 or 5 hours before we even send a car out there. Best or not the best to take a report. And then they're not getting
All I have to do is take a misdemeanor call and then just close it out,
yeah.
because we can't send it for investigation.
So, you know, gee, it's like, if we got a lead, you know, if they got like a license number or they were talking down the street, was seen in their garage, that's one thing, but just a cold, somebody come in sometime in the middle of the night, so I left my garage door. Could a bunch of stuff, I'm probably gonna go nowhere.
But we can check cameras to the homes in the neighborhoods, see about cars, and those lock cameras that are on state roads. We can identify cars coming in neighborhoods, but that takes time.
Yeah.
And if we don't have the time to do that, we just close them up.
So it's kind of a philosophical, and like Amy said, it's probably under $200,000, not much.
No,
The first
pretty-
year, then,
Pretty darn close.
and probably 125, 130. Figure out. So that's the reality of it. Like, it's not included in the budget, but it was asked to be included in the budget. Okay, where do we stand?
Basically, if you'll just take your budgets, just look through them. If you have any questions or wants changes or we'll address them at another public hearing or workshop.
And I think, I don't know, you want to schedule a workshop on this, or you want to just take it and digest it and bring it back next time and we can just schedule I mean, because we got a council meeting. We actually got council meetings before we third. So if you want to take it and bring it back on the 28th, and then we can talk about it some more then, we'll put some workshop time then. If we don't have enough time, we can schedule another one between here or something. But that way you got a chance to digest it.
Yeah.
And help you figure out what you want to talk about. Yeah, sure.
No, we should talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do you think of the date?
Well, I think
I
on
don't
the
think we need a
28th,
special meeting.
no, it's 28th, we'll just put another, yeah, like we did here, but. No, we're not going to finalize this until the 25th.
That will be what, the 28th?
Yeah.
7 and 11.
That's the workshop. We'll just include that on the budget. Or on
And then we'll set a public hearing after that when you guys want to.
and we can set it, well, yeah, we can decide. We want it on the first meeting to do your last meeting. Okay, so yeah, you want to not do 13 then? On this one?
If you, no, yeah, we can table it if you want to and
So we do need to adopt tentative budget, which we can do this. Tentative means it's just, we're gonna put it out to the public, they can comment on it also. And then we can digest it, change it, whatever, you know, it's hopefully it's 95% or greater. Where we want it.
We are making motion that we set this tentative budget with as is with our next meeting to talk about it, we
No, we'll set a public hearing for either 11.
One second.
I know Dave is not gonna be there for that. He's going
It won't be here for 28. Can you get questions in that? Amy, or me? Okay.
Is there any reason why we want?
We could schedule, we could do it, you know, in that.
I think we should.
Yes. But if you have some fun stuff you want to get this, we you be able to join us. Okay. All right, so I have a motion by Gibson, second by Aaron to adopt the tentative budget. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 12 is medical and dental insurance, consideration to approve benefits selected for 2024-25 for PEHP as a private medical and dental benefits.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to accept this because I think it's already.
Yeah, that's kind of covered that.
Second.
Motion by Gibson. Second by Nelson. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
Thanks, Steve.
And we're gonna try to just table item 13, is that correct? Do we want to table it or do we want to just pull it and put it back on the list?
Yeah, can we set it for the 25th?
We can do that right now.
Let's do that.
Do you know, oh, the 25th of June? Okay.
We don't need more.
Can we set public hearings? Well, we might. If
We
we
can,
get,
we can address it.
So we would make a decision if we need another one at our next meeting. Is that the idea?
We can talk, we'll have to, we'll have a public hearing on the 23rd.
Oh, because we got the 11th.
okay. So do we need a formal motion for that?
Yeah.
Make a motion to set the public hearing
Hearings?
to, well, the hearing just be on the 25th. We will have a public-
There will
Yes.
be multiple hearings.
But there's one for the
Anyone for the,
final amendment of the
Well-
24 and then another one for the adoption.
And there is a change in state law that we have to do a specific hearing for compensation.
is that, so when do we have the final, but adopt budget, is that?
The end of June, but on the 25th is where you want to adopt it or say we want a property tax increase.
So do we need a public hearing before that? Okay.
Yeah, we can send us to have a public hearing before, so you can.
Yeah.
Tell us something to say.
They can do June 11th and then not adopt it, just.
June 11th, and then we adopt it on the. have a public hearing on it.
Let's plan on that. Would you please notice this on the next agenda on the 28th
As,
also, because we want to adjust.
also the public hearing too.
So
Okay.
we have the public hearing on June 11th and June 25th and May.
No.
No.
We're going to schedule the public hearings for June 11th.
And 25th.
June 25th.
You only need one public hearing.
We
You just need the
won't
public
answer.
hearing.
You
and
don't have to have a,
You don't have to adopt it that night. You can,
but if we adopt, we don't have to have a public hearing to adopt it.
no, you have to have a public hearing.
On the
But
budget.
after that, you can adopt it or you can table it again till,
Okay, so the 11th,
So it just keeps the public hearing.
the 11th
no, you can close it.
will fill the
Just
requirement.
require.
Mhm.
Okay, let's just put it on there. and next
Okay.
Also, just because we're going to adjust. I have a second. Except for public hearings on the.
I withdraw my.
No, it's too late. Second.
I'm gonna restate it, so the motion is that on June 11th, we're gonna hold public hearings for our budget processes. And we have a second, so motion by Gibson, second by Nelson. All in favor, say aye.
I hope that's what I said.
Yes. I'm just paying full attention. Any opposed?
Thank you, Mayor.
Motion carries. Other business. Review recycling, we did.
We did that.
UCMA Conference.
I'm gonna go so fast on this, so I will send you all my slides from League of Cities and Towns presentation. Ultimately, and we kind of discussed a lot of the big items tonight. The building permits thing was one of the big items. Another thing that is a new one is having a specific public hearing for transparency's sake on the salaries of department directors, division managers and that. And so we'll have that crafted into the hearing process as well. The league feels that they were successful in avoiding state preemption of cities. And that's part of what their presentation was, but ultimately there's kind of a lot that's been eroded too, and then the housing stuff is continuing to. So I also had some really good presentations on leadership, and then one of them, and Tyson and I are actually going to meet with him, North Salt Lake. He gave a really good analogy, and I think it applies not only to public works, but all the departments. My computer died, so I can't show it to you, but I will send it out to you. It's this iceberg, and at the very tip of it, it shows, the functions that maybe we see day to day, you know, the roads, some of the things we're working on. But then deeper into that is all of the other different functions of the department, and I think it was just a really excellent analogy, and his whole point in the presentation was we need to start kind of scaling down into that iceberg to help our elected officials and our residents really understand the breadth of everything that's occurring in our communities. And so I thought that was really, really excellent, and Tyson and I are gonna meet with him in a few weeks to kind of talk through some of that. So it was a really good conference. If you have any questions about my conference, I'm happy to share them because my computer died and I don't want to bore you with slides, so.
We're not gonna do the normal department reports tonight based on the time that we still have COVID meeting. So once there's something really super burning, we'll just move on to item 15, which is the full meeting. We continue.
We're doing the RDA. We still have that.
So,
Sorry.
all right, so I entertain a motion to suspend the regular meeting and go into the redevelopment.
So,
Second.
All fair say aye. Or you gotta take okay, item 1 is consent items, minutes of April 23rd.
Yeah, we'll go over the minutes.
second.
Okay, motion by Dixon, second by Harrington, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Budget workshop.
We went over the RDA unless you guys have any more questions on it.
So I think we would like to item 3 is attendant budget. Unless you have questions. Because that's what we did.
Set that up on the same day, then we do 11.
Well, let's do 3 first, which is to adopt attendant budget.
Motion to adopt the budget for the RDA.
Second motion, North American. Second by Mary, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, motion carries. Okay, set public hearings. Steve. I don't even know.
So the same day.
Same day, so.
Same day.
June 11th.
Make a motion that we set for the same day, June 11th, 2024.
Motion by Mary, second by Eric, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Entertain your motion to
Adjourn.
adjourn.
RDA.
Second that.
Back into our regular meeting, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we're on item 15, to the closed meeting, to talk about pending litigation.
Motion going to close meeting, talk about pending litigation. We need to do a motion.
And well, I don't know if we can combine them or not in property.
Property acquisition.
Separate.
We didn't-
Separate.
If one, somebody calls for something, it stays.
Okay.
I do the closed meeting.
So which one?
I hate surprises.
So do we do two
Sorry.
motions?
Just one, we'll go into one,
One
go
motion, come
out,
back.
go in and
Okay,
out.
so this right now is about pending litigation. Motion.
Roll call.
We'll call vote.
Motion by second.
Sorry.
Sorry, just restate that. Roll call vote.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gary,
Yeah.
you ready? Yes. It's-
Okay, let me close up everything.